and I'm back to tell you about our sponsor, Mosaic Apparel. And we are here in our Mosaic drip. You know what I'm saying? We got the cozy Mosaic shirts on. They are a small local business located right here in the Central Valley of California.
Right here.
Yep, owned by our good friend and jiu-jitsu coach, Thiago Ricci.
On their website, they currently sell shirts, hoodies, and sweats, and soon they'll be selling tank tops, shorts, hats.
The concept behind Mosaic is simple. Many pieces coming together create something stronger than the individual pieces alone. Coming together as a unified whole, we're able to overcome obstacles that would otherwise be much more difficult on our own.
Their clothes are super comfortable, super cozy, super stylish. They got all types of graphics, from more simple ones like these, a little bit more intricate like these. The shirt I have on in particular is a collab that we're doing with Mosaic and the Cozy Show. It's got our colors and our flower barrier right here. If you want this one, you could DM any one of these Instagram handles and we could get you these personally. Everything else will be on the website.
So go check them out at mosaicapparel.com. It's linked in the description. Also, we have a discount code for you guys. All caps, cozy. If you type in cozy at the checkout area, 10% off your order. And also,
if you're local in the 209 area, it'll be free shipping. But if you aren't local, no worries. If you spend more than $80, it'll automatically be free shipping. So take advantage of that deal. We really recommend you guys check out the clothing brand, man. It's really good quality, really good stuff on their website. The owner, Thiago, is a really good guy. He's helped us out a ton. He's just a mentor and a jiu-jitsu coach. Please don't forget to use the code COZY. Helps us out a lot, you know, letting them know that you guys came from us, but helps you guys too with the 10% off, which is not too shabby, if I should say it. Shall say so myself, you know what I'm saying? I really love the message behind it, man. Like, just, you know, united, we could be so much more than just by ourselves. And you're always going to need that other person. You know, got this guy right here. So, and Thiago's helped us out. So please use that code and check him out. Thank you.
peace.
Hit record, right?
Did you do it on the phone?
Yes.
Gosh.
2, 1.
And we're back.
We're
here
back.
At the Cozy Show in the Cozy Corner. You're here with your host. I'm Arn Ellis, my co-host.
Chris Mariscal.
And a very special guest.
I'm Chris's mom, Joanne.
Well, nice seeing you. Nice having you on. Joanne's an alcoholic, so
That's why I'm smiling so brightly.
Wanted to have someone on in that experience, you know, and I want to ask you, maybe that's why Chris is how he is, you know, maybe some alcoholism during the whole child scenario, you know, through the whole birthing.
I got plastered this weekend. We went to, well, I don't want to talk about the whole thing, you know?
Yeah.
We'll say that for another pod, but we went to a bar, which is my first time ever at a bar. We went to the Udder in Turlock, which is like a white country bar.
The Udder place.
Yeah,
I went there about a month ago for the first time.
Surprising.
A whole lot of line dancing, right?
Dude,
Yep.
yeah, and it's not even line dancing songs. Like, they put on any song, and they're line dancing to it. And I'm like, how do you know? Like, what? You know? It's just, it was
How was your
interesting,
experience there?
It was good. I felt safe there. Did they check you? Did they
Oh,
look
yeah.
through?
Because they're all your kind.
Because somebody just got... Yeah.
It's your kind of people. You're like, okay, I can say all my views.
They were all my kind, yeah. No, I felt safe because somebody
Tell
had
me you're
gotten...
kidding.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Okay, she's
Somebody
kidding, I
had gotten
promise.
shot there.
Yeah, I heard that
like,
recently.
A month before we went.
Scary.
So they had, you know, the metal detector out, and they looked in my purse and everything. But I felt like it was a...
Sorry.
Yeah,
Just have
like-
it fall
just
on
like
you.
that.
I
Perfect.
felt like it was a wholesome kind of atmosphere type place, honestly. So what about you?
with ours.
Well-
it got shut down by the cops.
Oh, yeah, it did get shut down early. Like, a bunch of cops pulled up outside, and I think there was, like, a fight or something was going on because, like, they turned the music off immediately. And it wasn't 2 a.m. because that's when they usually
It was
close,
1.
right? And, yeah, they were like, you got to go. Like, everybody had to go. And, like, the music stopped. The band, like, left so quick. And then everybody just left. I was like, okay, well.
Chris lost his denim jacket.
Oh, my God. I bought that jacket at Ross, like, years ago. My classic denim jacket, you know? Blue denim. And I wear it everywhere all the time. And looking back on it, I probably deserved to get it stolen a little bit. Because I remember it was really hot. I was really hot. And I was like, I think I told you, like, I want to take it off. I was pretty, like, wasted at this point. and then
As Chris usually
you
is.
took it off, folded it, and you put it on like a table, which to be fair was like really close to where we were the
Yeah.
whole night. And then when the cops came and all that, I like went to look for it and it was gone. I was like, great.
Did the cops come inside too, or?
Yeah, there's
Oh.
a few in
Did
there.
they?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, there's like 2, but a lot of security guards too. Like
Mm.
they were all trying to figure it out, I guess.
Yeah.
I was like,
How'd
do you need any help?
How'd you guys end up there?
Oh, I hit up Noel, our friend,
Oh.
and I was like, let's go to the club tonight. Like we always saying we want to go, or to a bar or something. And he was down, and then he invited a bunch of his friends.
You invited
from,
like 10 people.
Yeah,
like,
from like his
Jesus.
engineering class, like people who aren't really accustomed to that environment. And I
Yeah.
told Chris, I was like, do you want to go? Yeah, he said yeah. And then we all made it,
Yeah. Jaime's always like dying to go to a bar or a club, so.
And we don't go.
'Cause we
Okay,
never
Joanne, we don't
really
go.
been,
Okay,
yeah.
so it's not like we do this. This is the first time we went in like the past 8 months, I think.
Yeah. And I told you too right away, because I don't think it was like totally our scene. The whole like country, white people kind of vibe. I mean, like
What
I
are
don't.
you? What are you, Chris? Chris
white
Mariscal.
person, but
Mariscal. Hey,
Mariscal.
Mariscal. Okay, it's not Mariscal anymore, Joanne.
She can't roll her R's, I don't think.
That's okay.
I think you can. You just don't try, huh?
I can't.
You can't? Have you ever
I got
tried?
an F in that in school.
Try that right
Really?
now.
Spanish.
and-
I can't. I can't.
Did you actually get an F?
No.
Oh.
I just could never roll my R's.
Oh. She could speak Spanish, so she could say "Tienes dos manos" when I asked her something.
Oh,
Like when I asked her
like
to do
something?
Yeah, and she says you have 2 hands. So that's a good one, right?
Did you learn that in high school?
I learned it at the gang school that I worked at.
The
for
gang
Oh, I
school?
forgot
year.
about that. She worked at this school. Well, do you want to say what it was?
When I was waiting to get into the nursing program, I worked for Stanislaus County Office of Ed, and I worked at it was a Norteno, and you guys always laugh at the way I say that. It was a Norteno gang school, like for kids that got kicked out of regular high school.
Yeah.
So it was pretty scary.
And
It was-
you were a nurse there, or like?
No,
nurse-
I was kind of just like an administrative assistant. So, but I worked in the actual school part where the kids would come in, and there were Crips, there were
Really?
Latinos. If there were any Serenos, see, I can't. Sorry, I can't. If
It's
they
okay.
ever came, it was a well-known Norteno school. But if a Sereno happened to just get enrolled by accident, they were beat up like right away. It was wild.
Dude, she always had stories. Like,
it was wild.
like all the time she would come home and be like, dude, like the gnarliest like fight happened today, or like, yeah.
What is that? High school?
It was called Ceres Community School, and it was in Ceres at the old Memorial Hospital. I don't even know if it's still even there anymore. It was probably like 13 years ago.
Now we're back.
Joanne, so you're a nurse, correct?
I'm a nurse.
How is that? How's that?
Good and bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What department do you work in?
I work in the oncology department, which is for people undergoing cancer treatment or who have been diagnosed with cancer.
And don't you get like kind of? It's not always like cancer patients. Don't you get kind of like?
No,
some
the
rough kinda
hospital that
people?
I work at, it's we get everything there on my
Yeah.
floor. We get stroke patients, people with heart problems, med surge patients.
Mm.
Is that because it's like understaffed, or is it because it's just like they just?
Well, we're and they kind of just put people wherever we have beds available.
Oh.
But each floor has like a specialty. Like there's a cancer floor, there's a heart floor, there's a stroke floor, there's a surgery floor. So we're technically the cancer floor, but we see everybody. So
I just went to the hospital, not the hospital, doctors like a couple months ago to get some tests done, and it was
What
really
kind of tests?
expensive. Just the norm stuff, you know.
Oh, did I tell you?
no, but I watched part of that one.
Oh. Do you have
Wait,
good,
which one was that?
I don't know.
We're gonna get into it, but I just Well,
Do you
just
have
keep
good
going.
health benefits? Like
I
as being a
do.
nurse?
I have there I do. Yeah, I have really good benefits.
Oh.
And then Chris was saying that he's under his dad's, huh?
That he has
Mhm.
way better benefits than
She
I
always
do.
says that.
That's nuts, right? Doesn't it work at Save More?
Yeah,
I'm not
when
saying
I
that's
had
bad, but compared to a nurse-
but when I had all 3 of my kids,
Yeah.
we didn't pay a dime for the hospital
Like
stay,
ever, huh?
anything ever. Yeah.
I grind the shit out of my teeth at night. I never cussed in front of my mom, but that one almost slipped.
But if we bleep it, she can't hear.
I grind my teeth really bad at night, right? And I had to get a splint or like a night guard to wear at night when I sleep, and those are like $1,000. Like they're super expensive, right?
At least, yeah.
She also used to work in the dental field when she was younger.
Oh, wow.
She's
Jack of all trades,
Jacqueline
master
of all
of none.
trades. But yeah, it's super, super expensive, and my dad's insurance covered all of it. And then the like people that work at my dentist's office, they're like, dude, I never see that. Like, you always have to pay for it, right?
What is he doing?
I know, right? Save Mart. Go work at Save Mart.
Yeah, seriously.
I didn't think we were going to put him on blast like that, but there we go.
That's not good. He saved our manager. There's a difference.
Which episode was that when you were talking about your testing and insurance and stuff?
Do you remember?
It was 3 or 4 ago. I
Is it
think
the lingerie
so.
party one?
Yeah, I don't know. Why? Just get to what you want to do.
Because, like, ever since we started this podcast, I always hope that you don't watch the episodes. Every single time, I just am like, please don't watch it. You know, maybe there's a few where I'm like, okay, that one's not too bad, but yeah, there's that one, and I know for a fact.
The lingerie one, I did watch that one.
Oh, okay. Well,
You know what? I pick and choose the ones I watch
Based off the title, huh?
based off the title, but I've
Okay.
had my feelings hurt on some of them of things you've
Ooh.
said
Uh-oh.
about me. So I quit watching. I mean, I've not watched a whole lot of them.
Can we get into that?
What have you said? What has he said that's kind of hurt you?
One of them was how I think stressed out he gets when he comes over to my house because I'm just
Oh,
like so
shit.
like when I was having him put together something for me.
You were
I'm
b-
so I don't know. I can't remember. I can't remember what you called me, but he just gets stressed out because I'm so.
That was a while ago.
Because
I
I'm
forgot I even
so
said that.
anxious or something.
Yeah.
And then another one was when I broke my foot, and you complained about having to come over and help me.
That was a dark time.
Wow.
And
Honestly,
that
was a
really
dark
pissed
time.
me.
Dark time.
How dark do you think it was for me?
Yeah.
Having a sprained left foot and
mean,
a
how could
broken
you?
right foot.
Just a mom.
And then on top of it, I told
She had
her
to stop drinking
that
for
I
9
quit.
months so she could have you.
So then I quit watching it for a while, and I haven't
I feel
watched that
bad,
many.
and that was a long time. It was a while ago. Yeah, but I
You should
remember.
feel bad.
I forgot I said all that, to be honest, and now I remember it, and now I feel really sad.
I do remember though because
And you vented about your family too, I think.
You guys both did that
I
day,
just
yeah.
remember Chris was like just constantly complaining because, okay, to be fair, both sides, like Joanne obviously has, like, she's immobile, you know, she's in a wheelchair, if that.
A wheelchair.
You know? She can't do much.
Yeah.
Luckily, she could wipe her
Wheelchair.
ass at that point.
Thank God it wasn't a broken arm.
Yeah, seriously. So Chris had to be
I would
going
be
a lot, right? Which
Yeah.
kind of stressed Chris out because he was still in college and he was still working. Oh, you weren't working.
No, I wasn't working at the time, and I wasn't in college either.
Yeah, so he was really stressed. Yeah, he was really
Turn hers
stressed.
Back, down a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
bit. Sorry. Sorry. What were you
Yeah,
saying?
you really had a reason to be stressed.
Chris was
didn't
like,
you?
I have 14 hours free. You're going to call me over for one? What are you? What are you, a martyr?
I know. Now that I look back on it, it is hard to like look at that and be like, okay, to give context here. Yeah, she broke her foot. She has a very large yard and a lot of flowers and a lot of things to be done around the house, plants to be watered, yard work to be done, you know. And yeah, she was like she had to use one of those scooter things to get around. Even then,
Shut up, Jaime.
her like quote unquote good foot was sprained. Like the ankle was sprained and the other foot was broken. So she could hardly get around
Wait,
for like the first.
how did it happen?
Do you want to tell the story?
You must have been
She gets
running. You must have been running or, you know,
I was
playing
doing
soccer or
extreme
something,
hiking,
right?
Yeah, I was running my 5K.
Training for the half mare, you know?
Yeah, I was.
All right. Well, it's okay if you don't want to get into it. I respect that. She was drunk. She was.
Oh, shut up! I was not.
Shocker.
Gosh, you
Oh,
guys
God.
stop! Wow.
Okay, yeah, but she like for the first few weeks it was really tough and like she was hard. Like I think it was really hard to even like get out of bed and get around the house and stuff. it was tough, right? So for for a while, I was like making food for you and like.
You were? What'd
Yes.
you make me?
Chris was
What'd
making
you
his
make
famous
me?
I
ground,
remember
ground
making
beef.
you a burrito like once or twice.
Oh, yeah, I do.
And I'd
remember
bring
that
you over
now.
some fruits and stuff, and
Okay,
yeah,
I
I'd
remember
water the
that now.
plants, I'd do yard work, whatever around the house, But yeah, I went on. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really have an excuse now. I just remember I would go over again and again, and there would always be like more demands.
And it doesn't matter that
to
I drove you
do.
back and forth to the Bay Area, spent the night with you, took care of your incisions and drains when you had your surgery, but a few little requests for me when I was laid up for a little bit.
Pushes them over the edge, right?
Yep.
I think it from my POV, because I'm the unbiased one here, right? Slightly biased, actually. Towards Chris.
biased.
I did feel bad for Chris sometimes because he was saying like you were getting like more and more like just demanding
That was
and
one
entitled.
thing he said.
Like,
Yeah.
but
The more I would do, the more she would want.
and then you'd get like offended or like just appalled by if he couldn't that one day or something. You'd be like,
I do
you
remember
can't help
that,
me move my
actually.
like TV stand or
Yeah,
my piano.
There's always stuff that
Or
needs
the
to be-
couch from upstairs that's
God,
still up there.
That's what drives me crazy. It's like there's just
Or the
always
weeds in my rain gutters.
Those
I
are
have,
bad.
I
I
have
saw those
weeds.
the other day.
No.
There's like a whole.
He was supposed to
biome
come
of
over like
plants.
last October and clean out the rain gutters. Yeah. Okay, I will.
I'm a busy person. I'm
When you own a
trying
business-
to get a podcast off the ground,
You were 24/7.
and I work full time now. But yeah, that's one thing that does like still even now if I wasn't, I'm not over there all the time like I was then in the summer. Even now, if you need like a large piece of furniture moved, I'm like, because it's just like there's always a large thing needing to be moved.
The piano's gone.
Yeah, that's
That was
great. We
good.
had a piano, and Jesus Christ, we've moved like 2 or 3 times.
But the couch is still upstairs. Which I'll talk
Oh,
to you
you-
guys.
yeah,
I'll
you
talk
did.
to you guys about that later because I actually had an idea about the couch.
Talk to someone
Well-
else, not me.
Well, if you go, no, I'm thinking if you guys move, maybe you guys would want it.
Oh,
That'd be good.
that's a really good
Okay,
idea.
that's
actually.
off the camera.
Yeah.
I
I
always,
mean, you could.
what I would always see is the yard work. That would always be crazy to me. 'cause
Okay, I
it's
have a
so
freaking
much.
gardener now.
Oh,
And I
nice.
had a gardener, but even then, so all he had to do was water a few plants. He's talking
Really?
about yard work. I have a
Because
gardener.
I told him, I was like, why does your mom get a gardener? Like, you moved out. Like, I
She
mean,
does have a gardener, but all he does is mow the lawn.
No, he
That's it.
doesn't.
Right? What else does he do?
He, after all these
Cleans out the
storms,
pipes?
he
He invites her to shit all the time.
he does.
I can't not cuss, dude. I'm just like, this is my element. You
Go
know?
ahead. He does.
He invites her to like parties all the time.
how old is
Did he
he?
invite you to like a funeral or something?
What?
I thought he did.
You must have been
Or
drunk.
maybe the reception.
Huh? A 50th wedding anniversary and
Okay.
a Super Bowl party 2
Not
years
too
in a
far
row.
off. You
and
know?
How old is
4th
he?
of July. He's married.
Jesus.
He's just friendly.
Here's a picture.
He's a nice guy.
No.
I wanted to ask
He is a
you,
really nice guy. Anyways.
for someone being not too older, but just a little older, do you still like get attracted to like 20 and 30-year-old guys that are like kind of attractive? You're like, wow. Or are you just more
okay,
like,
I'll tell you this right now. So I'm back on the dating scene
Oh.
as of a week ago.
Yeah.
No, as of a couple days ago. I have a 38-year-old
Oh, wow.
after me right now.
Nice.
Is he a firefighter?
I don't know what the heck he is. I'm not interested, but he is very attractive
Uh-huh.
Why
And
aren't
you're
you
not even-
interested?
because he's got like a 5-year-old and a 10-year-old.
That's
I've
a lot to
been
take
there,
on.
I've done that. Yeah, been there,
Yeah.
done that. No, thank you.
But what about just for like fun?
Well, I'm sure that's what he's.
What do you mean
wants.
for fun?
I'm sure that's
You know.
what he wants, just for fun.
You think so?
Oh yeah, I do so.
And you guys matched?
hmm
Do you message?
Why are you so? Why are you so?
I
like,
that was
just
I
like,
asked that
wow?
totally. That was.
You didn't know, huh?
That was objective. There was no tone to that.
Okay.
Do you usually like
get
mess? I know, dude. She gets super red and she gets embarrassed. Everybody look. No, but I get red. Not as
Gotta
much
come rubbing
anymore,
it.
but I get red when I get embarrassed too, and I hate it because I'm like, everybody's gonna know I'm embarrassed now. You know, I can't even play it cool because I'm like bright red. Do you usually message them first,
No,
or they?
I never do.
Oh, never.
Never.
Not even ever?
You have
Ever,
pictures of your
never.
kids in the profile picture?
Do you?
Actually, Erica's in one of them.
That's one of my sisters. Oh, wow, nice.
What's your bio? Does it say anything? Like,
I didn't put any effort into it this time because I just got on there literally like 2 days ago, and
quick
did-
after the breakup, huh?
I don't have much time. I
Do you
don't
wanna
have much time to spare. I'm getting old.
Do you feel like that, like in regarding dating? Like,
No, there's a lot of guys. I feel like there's a lot of desperate guys that feel that way, but no, I'm just like whatever happens happens. And
when these like dating apps started coming out and becoming a thing, did you ever think you would be getting on
Never.
them? So what changed?
17 breakups later, she's like, well, you know, I gotta do something different.
you know what changed is Erica told me, Mom, there's more to life. Erica, my middle daughter, there's more to life than gardening, than being in the backyard.
Oh,
And she set me up
she
a
set you
dating
up?
profile,
Oh.
a dating profile, and then you and Francisco came over and had to sit down and
Yeah.
talk to me about it. The
I think I was
dangers
like
of online
17,
dating.
16 years old. And yeah, I remember I told my friend Cheech that my mom was like dating again. I remember we went over and like talked to her, like sat down and
I
we
was
were like,
very touched.
you know, guys are, you know, sometimes they're only going to want certain things and we just want you to be safe.
Here's a couple condoms, like little bugs. If you need anything,
you can tell me anything, you know? You can come to me with anything.
I'll tell Dad it's an STD test for me, but it's for you. It's okay. Full coverage. Don't worry.
Full coverage with his insurance.
That's such a scum thing to do. That'd be so good. I mean, he did leave at the fucking.
Oh wow! Is there any? Okay, could you just give us like a rundown or like just give us a feel for what these dating apps are like? What kind of guys are on there? Because you've told me a lot of different stories, and I want the audience to hear what it's like to date in your 50s.
Well, I've met a lot of nice guys. I've met a lot of really nice guys. I was in a relationship for 2.5 years with one.
Yeah, it was a really good guy.
He was a
I
keeper.
miss him a lot. You should get back.
What? What'd you say?
I miss him a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I told you that.
I know.
He was a great
You
guy,
want to date
dude.
him? I'll give you his phone number.
You still have his number.
I text him. I don't text him. I haven't texted him in so long, but every once in a while, like after your breakup, he would text me. And I'd like get, kind of happy for a second, but he's just so like bland and dry over the phone. It just goes nowhere every time. Anyways, continue.
I don't know where I was at. I've met a lot of nice guys, but there's scammers. There's people that
said,
they
"Oh,
only
shoot."
want one thing. Very desperate guys. Like if I don't respond to them in 5 minutes, they get all bent out of shape.
Very dramatic. It sounds like I've heard some stories of that.
The Venmo guy.
Yeah, I could tell that one.
Jeez.
You don't have to say his name or context, but just say,
Don the mailman.
Oh, okay.
I won't say his last name.
Profession too.
I won't say his
Jesus.
last name. I
Okay.
don't care.
Well.
He was super funny. Like he was super funny. Like we just hit it off, right? Okay, we met on, I think, Plenty of Fish. I don't know which one we met on, but anyways.
Oh my god. Get down, man. How bad, man.
I don't know which
That's
one
a
we met
saying when your friend is literally about to jump off a bridge and you're like, "There's plenty of fish in the sea." That's where you're going
Do you see
there.
why we need to have this talk with her? I'm just kidding.
Anyways, he would. Okay, one time he called me and I was helping drain your drains when you had your surgery.
My breasts.
Yes, your
when I had my
breasts.
surgery.
And I didn't answer the phone. He had a fit, He broke up with me like 5 times. Just like because I wouldn't answer the phone. Some stupid stuff. So finally I'm just like, you know what? You're so dumb. This is enough.
Tell him.
And then
you know?
he told me, "Oh, I'm so in love with you." We only dated like 2
Wow.
months. I don't know. But anyways, he says, "If you don't block me off everything, I'm just going to keep bugging you. Block my phone number, block me off of Facebook, block me off of Instagram." He
Yeah.
was emailing me. So I like blocked everything. Well, then all of a sudden I get a Venmo from him for $1. And then I ignored it. Then I got another Venmo for $1. And then another Venmo for $1. So I finally said, you know what? You know how you can message on Venmo? I said, you know what? You could at least make it worth my while, you know? So then he Venmo'd me lucky $7.77 because he was a gambler.
They really blew her pants off, huh?
And then I don't know if I didn't answer. I can't remember. Then he Venmo'd me $200.
Oh my God. I forgot it was that much.
It was.
Pretty good, huh?
Wow.
Dude.
So I'm like, screw you. I made $210.77.
Wow.
And then he quit.
That was it.
was
You should have
Made
seen how far you could get
$210
it. That
You
mailman
should
salary.
have just
you know?
DM'd him closer.
Getting warmer.
So anyways.
Oh,
Now you have
man.
my attention. I feel like from an outside perspective, like I feel like you're always definitely the one that like kind of fizzles out of the relationship, or just like guys are always really wanting you, you know?
Oh, yes.
It's just crazy too, because like
You know what?
it's
I feel
crazy
like
they act like that, and they just keep acting like that
the
until
older
50,
they
you
get,
know?
they
Jesus.
get, you know what, though? I feel like they're desperate, like they don't want to die alone or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And I feel kind of like I have PTSD from a few relationships. So I kind of maybe keep guys at arm's length, but, which
Yeah.
probably isn't fair to them, but oh well.
I feel like you're really independent too.
I am.
And you kind of like me. I feel like you love kind of having your space and like
I do.
your personal time. And I feel like a lot of the guys you end up like talking to, they always want to be with you like all the time and like always over or always on a date or something. And then I feel like you get like really burned out, and then you're like, I need some space, you know? And then it ends up kind of not
Well,
working.
you know what, too, with my job, a lot of times I'm just like, I need to go home, and
Like decompress.
I see so many things, and it's just like I just need to be alone.
Yeah.
You in the bottle.
Till the end. The death do us part. Yeah, also from my perspective and from what you've told me, it does seem like the guys get really like they just seem so like needy, like super needy. Like that one guy you're saying that would always like when you were draining my breasts and he broke up with you about it. I can't remember you saying also you were like taking out the trash or like doing a chore around the house.
Oh, that was a different one.
And it was like not very long that
I
you
took
hadn't
the trash
responded.
out,
Oh, it was a
and then
different
he-
guy?
Yeah, that was some other guy.
And he was like, "Hey, if you're
I-
not
I-
serious about this, like, it, you know, it's fine." But like, he's just super, right? Super
So I
sassy.
said, tomorrow's garbage day. I was taking the trash out. Goodbye. And I blocked and deleted him.
Nice.
Oh.
Wow. You have any anything to follow on that?
Like, do you think you're gonna change maybe kind of your approach, or like who you're targeting? Maybe like I don't know, younger, I
Who
guess.
I'm
or
targeting? That sounds
Well,
like
it's like I feel like it's consistent, and I've known Chris for like years, you know. And I feel like it's always the same story. Like a guy's just super needy.
Yeah.
It's just.
I
it's
think I
nuts.
just give people the benefit of the doubt too much, and I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know.
You commented on one of our podcast episodes a while ago. And again, it was just one that I was like, God, I can't believe she watched that. It was
The
the
drunk
one.
one?
Yeah, it was the
Mhm.
one where we drank. And you left a comment saying like, not a fan of the of the drunk podcast. You could do better or something. Did you watch the whole podcast of that one?
I think so.
Oh.
I don't even know what we said at the end, but I know Chris tried to show his ass.
Maybe she didn't see that.
Chris, the two girls are telling him to show his ass.
Oh.
And he was
Oh
starting to
yeah,
bend
but
over
oh
and do
yeah, I
that.
saw that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
watched it. When I start on I usually am like doing stuff around the house, and I listen and I watch the whole thing.
Nice.
I don't comment. I watched it or whatever you said on the one of the last ones.
You're like,
Comment that you.
Oh, we
Watched it all the way
You
through.
watch them all the way through. Nice.
I do.
please. Don't comment.
I don't comment.
I have another question. So my mom's like not a big fan of marijuana at all. She's pretty. I don't know if you're against it, but just you may frown upon it a little bit. I don't know if you've seen that one podcast, but I smoked marijuana.
San Diego one?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
She knows like every single one.
I don't even watch him anymore after you insulted me on pod like 12. You've seen all of them.
What were your thoughts when you saw that?
You know what? I maybe didn't watch all of that one.
Was it too
But-
hard?
No.
Or did you watch it or listen to it?
I usually listen to them.
Oh, okay.
But I was just listening to you being all, you wanted to stop it. And you
Oh,
wanted to-
man.
yeah.
Yeah. That was a bad one. It was a terrible experience, if you're wondering. It was... I got way too high, and I was like super anxious the whole time, and I kept thinking like this is the worst podcast ever, and I almost had a panic attack like halfway through, and I just didn't tell anybody. But that was a rough one.
Luckily, Chris hasn't smoked since.
Have I?
I don't know.
Did you know I'd ever smoked marijuana before that?
Yeah, because you've talked about it on some of your other podcasts.
God.
Hey, I know a lot more about you than I
Jesus. Okay,
yeah.
how has your views
Yeah.
of me like changed
A
since?
lot.
Yeah, because you're saying the other night you're like, there's some things I never knew you did.
A lot.
Yeah,
Of things.
just spill. Like, what did you think of me before versus now?
I always thought you were my sweet, innocent little Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, like some of the stories you've told about when you were a kid and some of the
Yeah.
stuff you did, I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, I knew, can I say their names?
We'll believe it.
I knew, they were 3 years older than you, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they were subjecting you to things that you probably shouldn't have been doing, but I didn't realize to the extent, like going to the party at that young age and being drunk and the cops came.
You listen to everything, dude.
What is it? I think you were
I
14.
thought it was safe. I didn't think you had heard any of this. Wow.
Hey,
Yeah.
you're putting it out there,
Yeah, that was
right?
That's forever.
And it's crazy because this pops in my head when you're talking about like how someone got shot in front of the Utter Place bar in Turlock. I just remember you would always say that. Like, I think you were always scared for me to go to parties because you would always say like, what if you get shot? Or like, people get shot at parties. I remember you would say that. People get shot at parties. And so I'd always be so scared to go to parties. And I mean, I never went to that many, but I think that was like my first one when I was like 14. It was like a Riverbank High School party that they took me to.
Geez.
And I remember being so scared, like walking up, just like butterflies in my stomach, like so anxious, just because I was like, what if somebody pulls out a gun? Like, just super scared. But anyway, so what else did you think of me?
Did I think of you, or do I think of you?
You were my son. Now you're just a stranger.
What else has surprised you?
I don't know if I want to say some of it.
Yeah, don't.
But-
Just please don't.
Some of your sexual escapades.
Yeah.
Like I thought when he got his first girlfriend, I thought he probably was a virgin. I remember he told me one time, Mom, I've had sex before.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. You know what?
She probably knows that one too, then. Huh?
Which
one?
one?
Story. Never mind. Just
No, go for it.
just go. No, I can't. We'll get to it later.
Okay.
I promise.
Oh, wait.
You are like a compassionate, caring, sensitive kid.
Mhm.
Like I'll text him and say, Chris, there's a gopher in the yard. Can you come and kill it? He doesn't even want to come kill a dang
I
gopher.
hate that.
I have a duck on a nest in my backyard right now. I said, Chris, can you come over and smash the eggs? No, I'm not coming over and smashing the eggs. Like he
Joanne.
I just knew your reaction to that.
Bro, what are you doing?
That's what I said. Why do you have to smash him?
Like, God.
Put him somewhere else or throw him away. Like,
Well, or do something with them. I guess smash is a violent
Jesus.
word.
That reminds me because
no wonder I'm like this.
in
you
our
know?
old house, in front of the door, there was this like arch kind of thing going on, and there was corners in there that were kind of hidden. I remember like one day my family noticed that there was like a nest building in that corner, and then the birds would fly in and out.
Yeah.
And I thought it was so cute. And then like not too long after, my mom came with the broom and just started breaking it off. And I was just like so like, what is going on? Like it's so evil, you know?
That's what I'm saying. Like, how are they? I don't know. How are they going to like disrupt the?
Because they are pooping in my pool and it's a mess.
The pool in the winter.
duck.
The pool in the winter that you're using daily.
Shut up. I mean, yes. It's black. You're not coming over and cleaning the poop out of the pool,
That's for sure.
right? Oh, yeah, I'll
Yeah.
be over. Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, good point. But yeah, I was
No,
like, why do
he's-
you have to smash him?
She's like, can you find the mom duck, light it on fire in front of him? Maybe that'll teach him not to come back.
So you said I'm sweet and compassionate.
Well, you
and-
are. Like, you had a BB gun when you were little and you shot a bird and you felt horrible.
Oh, yeah, never again.
And never again.
Yeah.
So
That was terrible. You
and
think it's gonna be the
still-
coolest thing?
And you know
it's
what?
not.
You still are that
Watching
way.
life leave the eyes of the bird.
Shooting at him, just dropping to his knees. Like, what have I
Dude,
done?
it's bad. I used to love I had a BB gun for a while, and I would love just shooting like cans or whatever. But yeah, we would go camping, and I remember I shot a bird. It's just so dark. Like you just watch it; it doesn't die instantly. It's just like, dude, it's bad.
If you were a better shot, it would have died.
Anyways, but yeah,
No, you've always.
Yeah.
I mean, that opinion hasn't changed because
Mm-hmm.
you, or when you've broken up with girls, you
mm-hmm.
feel bad, and
Yeah,
you are really always concerned about
it still
how
haunts
you
me.
treat people.
Yeah,
But so I still think that about you. But you're not the sweet and innocent kid that I thought you were.
isn't that weird? Like I have two sides of me, you know.
You do.
It's just because I know, deep down, I'm a really good person at my core, you know. But I do some crazy stuff sometimes, you know, or I'm a little risk taker, I guess.
But that's all part of finding out who you are, and I think that's normal.
I like that.
Honestly,
Were you doing stuff like that kind of young when you were younger, like exploring wise?
Exploring wet wise.
I don't know, drugs and all that other
Sex
stuff.
and rock and roll.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Mhm.
Yeah. You know what? Things were different back then.
Everything was segregated.
It was, yeah, the other place, the white place.
God.
It was different. I mean, there was pot and there was drinking, and I don't know. There wasn't all this ecstasy and I can't even think.
You're getting nervous?
What?
Are you getting nervous?
No, I'm not nervous. I mean, I guess maybe I ran around with a okay crowd where we didn't try all that kind of stuff. I mean, mushrooms, but
You did mushrooms?
some of my friends did. No, I was
Really?
always too scared.
Oh, wow.
I was always too
That's cool.
scared.
If you don't mind, have you ever done coke?
No.
Jesus.
I'm too scared. I'm too scared. I've heard stories of people the first time they do coke, they have a heart attack and die, and I thought that'll be me.
Or now, I hear stories where
Is that
there's.
Chris? Is that where Chris gets
Oh yeah.
from?
Yes.
We
dude,
we
right?
had Molly. It fell in our laps. Literally, we didn't ask for anything, and we're not the type. And we throw them away because we're like, this is probably we do not even want to think about it, you know.
Well,
Jaime just told a lie. We did not.
you did not throw.
Okay,
Why are you
well,
lying?
'cause
Fly
you
your
s-
nose.
No,
like
I
Pinocchio.
promise
No,
you.
no.
I promise you, I'm gonna throw it away because I can. I have the same
Okay,
thing
can
as
I
you,
tell
where
you
I'm like,
something?
what
That's
if this
what he's-
isn't Molly? What if something else is in it? I'm not gonna give it to somebody because what if something else in it,
Okay.
and then they take it and it's on me?
Right.
I just can't. I'm too much of an overthinker, which is 1,000% I get from you. It's
Big
my
time. I'm
worrying
way
and
too
stuff.
much of an overthinker. Well,
Yeah.
we had a close. We consider him a family member, die of a drug overdose,
Mhm.
and we to this day don't know whether it was intentional or accidental.
Mhm.
But just this day and age, there's somebody gives you that, it could be laced with anything.
Yeah.
It could have fentanyl in it, whatever,
I've heard of stories recently of just people who they do a line or bump or whatever of cocaine and then it has fentanyl in it and then minutes later they're just dead.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm I would never even try that either.
So
I just
I mean,
can't.
unless
You
you're
know?
going and buying something at the pot store. I mean, even pot they're lacing it with fentanyl. So
Are they?
He was offered coke recently, New Year's, and
Did
he
you
said
hear
no
that?
right away.
yeah, I heard
Boom.
that too.
Yeah, I said no. I didn't even think of it.
Yeah.
I actually laughed.
You did?
He said, no, he was the guy asked me if I do coke and then I laughed. And then I noticed he was serious. I was like, oh, God. I mean, he's a fine person.
Yeah.
He didn't seem like a scary dude or anything, but I was
Well,
I
but you
laughed.
never
'Cause I thought he was
know. Okay,
joking.
Maybe he got it from somebody that he doesn't
Yeah, and
know what's
we were in
it.
San Diego. I'm like, I don't know you. I don't know where you got it, So I would never. So you don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
Good.
Hear about the pod? Next pod, Chris did coke for the first time.
That's gonna be
On
the
the
title.
thumbnail,
That's gonna
he
be the
did
title.
With an exclamation mark.
And he did have a heart attack.
Oh,
He did coke first solo pod.
God. Yeah, I was kind of curious about that. Like, how has Modesto changed since you were like, I guess, our age,
Oh wow.
or like in high school?
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is all the homeless people
Mm-hmm.
and all the gang shootings and well, when I was your age, it wasn't. We call them Bay Area transplants that live here now. Sorry, I don't know if you want to cut. If you want to, you can
might,
take that
but you
out
can
if you
keep
want
going.
to. Okay. Just the Bay Area people that have come over and overpopulated everything. It was like a nice place to grow up. You could walk to school, walk home from school, go to a house party, and not worry about getting it shot up. And I don't know, no homeless people.
One thing she says that like they used to do growing up is cruise McHenry.
Oh, yeah.
McHenry, like the street, you know? I guess that was the thing, right?
Yeah, there's not much else to do.
What would that like entail? You literally just drive up and down?
We'd go from 5 Points, which is down by Needham,
Oh,
and
like downtown.
then go all the way up to like I think Longs. Well, it's not even Longs now. Gosh, Granger and
Yeah, give the mic a little closer.
Granger and McHenry are like around in there. That was the strip right there, and we just go back and forth all night long for hours and hours.
That's crazy.
You know, gas didn't cost $4 whatever a gallon.
Yeah. And would there be like a lot of other people your age doing that?
Oh yeah.
And they, like that was just a
Sometimes
thing
we
to
even
do.
drive to Turlock and cruise there too.
Really?
Yeah.
That gets crazy.
What street would you cruise in Turlock?
I don't even remember. I don't know.
Would you ever meet like a group of young men
Oh yeah.
and get in their car?
I know a few people that met their husband on McHenry.
Just cruising.
Uh-huh.
And how would they? Would they
that's
just?
why you were there.
Really?
Yeah, you'd cruise and then you'd see some cute guys and
Would they just yell out
you'd
of
have
their
your window
cars?
down. Well, you'd be right next to each other.
Oh wow!
Yeah, just drive around.
I remember one time, it was me, Francisco, and Elias, and we were driving back from Stan State because our friend Ruben had a race that day on the track race, and we were driving back, and we were on, I think, Gear Road, which is like a back road that you take from Riverbank, Modesto to Turlock, and there was this car with like two girls in it driving next to us, and it was like a 2-lane area. And I remember he like got next to them and like, I don't know how he did it, but he was like, "Can I get your number?" And they said yes. And then I think he wrote down his number, and then he went to like give it to them, and I think they drove off at the last second. And he was like, "Hey!"
Oh, it's so embarrassing.
I know, so bad. So there's more. Okay, wait. Because I was just thinking, back when you guys would like cruise McHenry like that, there were no cell phones, right?
Mm-mm.
Do you think people like, I guess like acted differently back then? Because I'm just thinking, like that probably happens so much less frequently, right? That like people are getting people's phone numbers from the car, or that type of thing, where it's like you just go up to somebody and ask for their number. Do you think cell phones are like good or bad for like the dating thing?
I think they're good and bad. But it's a lot easier to be mean or ghost people. Kind of say things maybe you wouldn't say in person to somebody.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's as far as social, I feel like a lot of people, like I won't name names, but certain people I know just instead of being social in person, they just can bury themselves in the phone, and it's not real.
Yeah.
Not real relationships.
Jaime used to be so much worse with that. I feel like we used to go out to Wingstop all the time. Remember when we were like at MJC, like 18, 19 years old? I remember we would get so mad at you because you're always on like Twitter when we were just sitting at the table. I'm like,
You and Angel,
why are you
right?
on Twitter? Yeah, like we're here, you know? But you don't really do that anymore.
Yeah, I think I have to actually talk, I just actually have more to say, and I'm like, I'm talking with you guys now,
Yeah.
Real quick, going back to like the cruising, how were you like approaching guys, or like what was your kind of personality then? Were you like more shy, or were you more like, oh, let's go and get their numbers? Or
No, I'm like I am now. I don't do the approaching. I wait for them to approach. And I was always, if I wasn't interested in a guy, I was always like Chris. I didn't want to hurt their feelings, so I would tell him my name was Julie, and I'd give him a fake phone number.
Wow.
when you see him cruising the next day, because that's all there's to do. Like, oh, I must have missed the number.
Julie.
He hasn't heard me speak.
Like, Julie, you're like, who? Oh, yeah.
What? Dang. Did you ever witness any like craziness in the cruising McHenry? Like any fights or brawls or anything?
Anyone speeding?
No speeding, because then you could check
go
people
slow,
out.
obviously,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that
super
was the
slow.
whole thing. It was like a dating thing.
Well, it was just there was nothing else to do. I mean, people would just go out there and because they knew their friends were going to be out there too, and then we would pull over like in certain parking lots and talk.
Oh,
And
wow. Did you ever like flash anybody out the window or anything?
I didn't. I'm sure people did.
There was
we
a pause
would do the
there. I don't
we
know.
would do the Chinese fire drills where you
Oh, that's where you
stop
get out and everybody
then you'd
switches.
run around. Yeah.
I only do that if it's like I need you to drive. I've never done it like for fun. It's like, woo. That's so wholesome though, you know.
That's awesome. Or TPing, or we'd go toilet paper somebody's house, or
I've never even done that.
I never want to.
Would you get mad at me if I did that? As a
well,
kid?
nowadays
Imagine
you'd probably
now,
get
get
shot. I
Get a
know,
knuckle
geez, but
sandwich?
back then, or you could call and prank call people, and they wouldn't know who it was because there's not all this caller ID crap.
Oh, dude, prank calls were like my thing back in the day. I remember me and my sister Kayla, we would, and like when her friends would spend the night, we would just prank call because that's when like,
Really?
yeah, we started having cell phones. I didn't, but like Kayla and her friends would have cell phones, and we would just prank call people like all the time. Like I would prank call my friends' parents. I remember one time I called Mountain Mike's. And I was like so young, so I'm sure I had like a baby voice, you know? And I was like, I want to order 10 mountain-sized pizzas, which is so stupid. Like, obviously, it's a fake order, right? It's probably like 9 p.m. And then I remember, I think she asked, she's like, okay, what's the phone number for that? And I accidentally read our house phone number. And I got so scared because I was like, dude, what if they actually do it and my parents have to pay? That's like hundreds of dollars. And then I think I was like, oh wait, no. And then I think they just hung up because I think they
Like, delete
realized.
that number on file right now. Delete it. Burn it.
I swear to God.
Dude, my cousins would do that, and I'd be so scared. I would never do it. I just
The
couldn't.
prank calling?
Yeah,
It was
I
fun,
just
dude.
couldn't call someone and lie and just do something. Like, it's just so not fun.
That was
you
so
know?
fun. I don't know if. Yeah, I don't think I could do that now. Like, I just feel too bad.
I remember we went to the beach. Do you remember this? We went to Pajaro Dunes, and we were bringing all of our stuff in, and you and Kayla called 911. And we had just gotten there, just messing around.
We were messing around, called 911.
Yeah, and then we're moving all of our stuff in, and then they called.
How old was I?
Not very old. I don't know.
I feel like I vaguely remember that. They called us back?
They called back. Yeah.
Oh, they didn't come. Huh.
Like, we had a kid saying he's scared and he wants to go home.
I remember one other thing I would do as a kid. I used to hang out with the neighbor kids like a lot when I was like probably like 8 to like 10 years old, in that range. Mazin, remember Mazin? He lived right behind us. That was a homie. But I remember there was a group of us. I think it was him. I think Francisco was there. This guy Sean, and I thought it was like the funnest. I thought it was like the coolest thing. There were these plants. You probably know. You have some in your yard, actually. Okay, you know the ones like where the pool is, all the way on the fence, where like the fence that separates you from Ben. Like the ones that are really annoying that you're like, I cut them and you're like, just hack it because it always grows back. And it grows like the really thin ones that like, you know? Okay, you know how they have those like, they're kind of like bean shaped, those things you could take off?
Yeah, the pods, like
Yeah,
the
the
seed pods.
Yeah. It's like a pod. It's like this big, this long cylindrical object. And anyways, all the neighbors like had these in front of their houses at our De Leon house. And I thought it was funny to pull those pods off and throw them at cars when they would drive by. And I remember I think we were in, it was one of the neighbors, but they had like shrubs in front of like separating the sidewalk from their lawn in their front yard. They had shrubs that were like waist high. So I remember it was like the four of us and we were like crouching below. And when a car came around the corner, we like threw a bunch of those things and we like laid back down and the car just stopped and it was some like old lady and she yelled at us. Like, I don't know how we thought we were slick. You know, like obviously they're going to see us. That was, I don't know if you ever knew I did that.
No, I did not.
I remember doorbell ditching was a big one too. I would do that a lot. And I remember I was doing it one time to, I don't remember whose house it was, but it was like, you could see the house clearly from like our living room window. And I remember, I don't know who it was, but it was me and one of my friends. And I remember similarly, they had like a shrub, but it was like a circle, like an enclosed circle in their front lawn. And I remember we doorbell ditched, and then we ran like 10 feet from the front door into that shrub, which was in their front yard. And then we just like laid there, and we heard them come out, but they didn't know we were in there. But then I remember I got back to the house, and I think it was either you or Dad, and you were like, don't do that. Like, I think you saw me doing it, and you were like super disappointed.
I don't
And you scolded me.
I did. The one time you got scolded.
Yeah.
Did you ever hit Chris, really?
Never.
I would get spanked.
You would?
Yes.
With the wooden spoon?
Yeah, they had like a big wooden
Ooh.
spoon.
I thought I just threatened with it.
No, I would get spanked.
Really?
I remember
By
several
me?
times. You and I know Dad did it for sure, but I don't know if you did it or not. I remember one time, I don't know, I think I said something like I don't know if I said a bad word, but I think I told one of my sisters to shut up. Wow. And I remember my dad did it that time, and it was bare ass, and it was bad. Like, I remember that one hurt. Like,
Was
I remember
I
it
home?
clearly. I think so.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it was like a family car ride back to the house when I said those words. And then he was like, pull him down. Because usually I wouldn't pull him down. It was through the pants. But then that time he was
Really?
like,
I don't
pull him
remember.
down. I was like, oh no.
Is there anything like bad, like punishment wise, that your dad did to you or something that your mom might have not known?
He diddled me one time. No, I'm just kidding. No,
Oh, Jesus.
I didn't get in trouble that much. I don't know.
You played a good act.
I guess, yeah. No. It's more like my sister. I was getting in trouble more. But no, nothing that I can think of. Is there anything I ever did that made you like really mad? Do you remember ever being like super, super mad at me?
The one thing that you did that really disappointed me was when you burned your report card.
I was going to bring up that story too.
Nice.
He said nice.
Such a nice story.
And then I took his phone, and then he ended up getting
Oh, I had a trap phone. But she
from
caught
a
me with
friend,
that too.
And then I caught him with that. Yeah.
Okay, explain the story.
Okay, so I was in, I think, 7th grade at the time. And that was probably the only time in my life I didn't have, like, really good grades. Because in high school and college, I had, like, a 4.0. But in middle school, that's when I was just getting, like, super into skateboarding. And I think after school every day, like, all I wanted to do was go skate. And my grades started to, like, drop as a result of that. And I remember, because I think your guys' standards was like just to have A's and B's, nothing less than that. And I had 2 C's at the time, I think. And I remember I got in trouble, like one of my teachers scolded me in my English class for talking during class. And then I remember he emailed you and he was like, hey, just want to let you know, like Chris has been a little disruptive in class. And also I noticed that like some of his grades are dropping. Like the 2 C's, he like snitched on me, you know? And I think, so when I was in school, in middle school, they had progress reports and then they had report cards. Progress reports, it was just that. It's like, this is where they're at right now, but this isn't like the final grade. This is just like mid-semester, whatever, like how they're doing. And there was a twist here. I remember I burned one of them. And then she thought like another one was going to come in, and it just wasn't going to come in. How did it go? I don't remember how it went. But anyways, I had burned it before the teacher emailed her that. thinking I was slick, you know, because I was like, she's not gonna see these C's, you know. And I don't know why I had to burn it. I could have just thrown it. Just a simple throw in the garbage would have sufficed.
Didn't you love lighting things on fire?
Yeah, I went through a phase where I like to burn stuff.
Yeah.
But and fireworks and all that. But yeah.
Putting the thing in your crotch and your
Oh yeah, one
jeans
time
when
I
was
lit a
at work,
bottle.
yeah, or at the skate park.
Yeah, I lit
I
the
remember
skate
which
park.
one.
With my friends. It was on the 4th of July too. And we had a bottle rocket. Those are the ones that shoot in the air and then pop. And I put it in my zipper, and I was laying on my back on the ground, and we lit it. And as the fuse was like, you know, burning, it tipped over, and it was like facing my head. And my friend Elias was like, crash, 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 crash. And then I like turned to my side, and as soon as I turned to my side, it was like, and it like shot into the parking lot and exploded. Nice. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. We filmed it, dude, but they lost that video. I'm like so pissed because it was so funny. But yeah, that happened. But yeah, I had burned my report card thinking like she would never know. And then my teacher emailed that, and then I think
I kept saying, "Gosh, your report card should be coming
yes,
soon." And
like
it was never coming.
yeah,
it was never
and because I wasn't gonna tell her, I wasn't gonna like snitch on myself, you know. But then she was after she got the email saying my grades were dropping, she was like, "I want to see your report card when it comes," you know. And I was like, "It ain't coming," you know. It ain't coming. So I told her I had to snitch on myself because she was just gonna keep waiting, you know. Yeah. And then yeah, I got grounded. It wasn't even that bad of a punishment, I don't think. Like people are probably gonna laugh, but yeah, I think it was like a week of like no phone, and I don't think I could go skate, which was a big one. That was hard. I couldn't go to the skate park. I don't think I could even hang out with friends. Like it was actually like grounded. Like I just had to kind of stay inside and not see friends, not go to the skate park. I mean, it worked, though. I never did anything like that again. And I feel like I had really good grades, you know, from there on.
So what's up with this second phone?
Oh, yeah. She took, I think, yeah, I had like she took my phone away and my iPod Touch. And my friend Anthony, shout out, he had like an Android, like, extra phone. And he gave that to me. And then I think my dad, like, walked into my room one night. And I was on the phone in bed. He's
no,
like,
I remember distinctly. I found it. I think it was me.
You found it?
No, I went in and I caught you with it, or it was laying on your bed or something. What is this? And then I think he got grounded again. I think you got grounded
for longer.
Yeah.
Oh wow. One thing about me that I always feel bad about is like the few times that she like scolded me. Even like if it's now, probably when she scolds me. I get this nervous like smile and I like laugh a little bit, and she gets so mad when I do that. And I think it's because my dad used to do that when they would argue. He would like laugh or like smile. And I don't think it's funny. It's a nervous thing, you know? And I feel so bad every time I do that.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Wait, so was there
He'll just always say, "I'm sorry, blah blah blah." Sounds so sincere.
I'm never the person that's like making excuses, you know? Like if I did something wrong, I feel like I always was just like, yeah, I messed up and I'm sorry. Like I never made excuses, you know, or tried to like
well, that's good.
Worm my way out of it. Yeah, it's a good one, right? Nice. Was there any other times you were like super mad at me or anything?
Yes, but I probably shouldn't.
You don't want to say it? You don't have to if you don't want to.
Yeah. There's one other time I was super mad at you because you wanted to go skating. You wanted some guy that had a van was going to take a van load of you guys skating.
Yeah.
In like Patterson or somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, I remember.
Do you remember?
I remember.
And your dad and I were
there was
up
a
the
lot
hill.
going on. Like,
yes, and you would not take no for an answer. Like
yeah.
I had just taken my nursing, my state board.
Mm-hmm. And passed somehow.
I don't know how.
Yeah, there's a lot of like bad stuff going on at that time in our lives. I remember I was just really pushing
it. That totally stands out. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you going off on me over the phone, over the house phone. I think it was on the house phone. Mm-hmm. You're like, Chris, I can't do this right now. Like, you're not going. And I was like, ah. And I think Dad still ended up taking me. I think he came home. Like, you guys made it back in time, and then I still got my way. So.
Somehow.
No, other than I remember I came home and there was a cop car in front of our house at one time. But I I think I was more mad at your dad because he was
Yeah.
in charge of you guys, and
To get
all
out
of a
on
sudden
him.
yeah.
Yeah, at that time it was the same gang of friends that it's all with. Is Francisco, Elias, and Ruben. I hope I can have them all on the pod one day. But yeah, I think I was young too. I think I was probably in like 5th grade at that time, really young. And yeah, we're just outside my house like at night, and I think I remember we were streaking up and down my street. I don't think we were butt naked, but we were definitely like in our underwear. I don't know why we thought that was fun. And then we had this guy, rest in peace, he's dead now, I think. We had this neighbor.
Which one?
Lauren?
Oh, he probably is. He was old. He probably is.
And he hated us. And I think he hated Francisco more. Just because he's Mexican, I think.
No, Francisco was disrespectful to him. Remember laying in the gutter?
Yeah, one time. Yeah, we were like
he
sitting.
was a retired cop, too, so he kind of had a...
Yeah, one time. Yeah,
attitude.
this guy was a retired cop, right? So there you go already. And we're sitting, ego trip. We were sitting, because we would just skate outside all the time, and we were sitting like in the gutter in front of my house, not even in the street. Like we were like right on the edge of the street, like basically the gutter, And this neighbor drives by and he stops right in front of us and he was like, "You need to get out of the street," or something like that, or like, "Do you think that's smart sitting in the street like that?" And if like Cheech, he's not gonna let anybody talk to him like that, even at that age, And he was just like, "I'm fine right here." I don't know what the conversation was, but he was like mouthing off to him, and the guy was like, "I can get 5 squad cars here right now because you're sitting in the street." And then he was like, "I have a badge inside the house. I'm like a retired cop or whatever." And Francisco was like, "Well, go get it." Like, he just did not care, and the guy just didn't do anything. But he had to have called the cops because it was like after that on us when we were streaking and all that. Yeah, and then my mom got home, I think, from like picking up my sisters from somewhere.
I don't remember where I was.
And there was like a cop car out front. And I'm like 10 years old and she's like, "What's going on?" And my dad was
like on the hood of the car, like, "Go down!"
And my dad was asleep.
Oh my god!
Yeah, of course.
And she woke him up
Yeah, I did.
and yelled at him. I remember hearing that. So, were you ever like worried when I was at the skate park all the time as a kid, growing up?
No, honestly, I wasn't, and I probably should have been, but...
Why were you so like at ease? Like, was there ever a point where you were like, "Should I be worried about this?"
Skate park? No. Because Dr. Porter told you, had the talk with you about drugs and skate parks.
Yeah, I
No,
remember we went to my
I'm just
doctor one
kidding.
time and he was like, "There's going to be drugs and this and that at the skate park." 'Cause he knew I was a skateboarder. But
No, I guess I probably trusted you guys, all 3 of you kids, not you and your friends, you and your sisters, maybe when I shouldn't have, or believed you when you shouldn't have. But
do you feel like there's any like mistakes you've made as a
oh
parent?
gosh, a ton of mistakes.
Do you want to get into them?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to. It's okay if it's like sensitive.
Well, yeah, a ton of things I would do different. I mean, I think as a person,
Mm-hmm.
and you and I overthink.
Yeah,
So, of course, I've overthought a lot of things. But,
it's all right. You don't have to go into it.
okay.
I have. Do you want to do your questions or should I do
Can I
that?
do mine first? And then
Yeah,
so you can
Jaime
get
wrote some questions. Oh, well, we don't know.
we got a lot or no?
Yeah, a few.
All right, so I have a couple questions for you here. We're gonna do some speed ones, and then Yes.
Speed ones.
more of like a yes or no, maybe a short explanation.
Okay.
Ready?
Mhm.
Is Chris your favorite kid?
Does it have to be yes or no, or can I just say no comment?
No comment.
Okay. No, I love all of my kids equally for different reasons.
Okay.
Good thing I know we lie detector test. Have you ever caught Chris jerking off?
No.
God.
Well, when his story is a little bit close.
Oh, really?
Stop.
Yeah, he said one time he was just
Oh,
finishing.
I heard that.
Oh,
I listened to
that was recent. That was recent.
had no idea. I was oblivious to the situation.
Even when you went in his room and it was like
I had
he was
no-
just like shuffle or anything, you'd be like, "Oh, I don't know."
I was oblivious. Yeah, I could remember him having a smelly bedroom.
I feel like you never would have suspected any
Well,
of that
no,
from
I
me.
didn't.
Oh man.
You know.
No.
Meanwhile, I'm in there just jerking up a storm.
Wow.
Anyways.
Yeah, I know. I was surprised.
The kids he had in there. Did you have any hot family members around when Chris was a child that may explain why Chris is so interested in MILFs with big boobs? Because I don't know, the viewers, Chris is infatuated. Anytime there's some
With
woman
a
with some
large chest.
yes, he is like, wow, I'm in love.
Yeah.
Especially if they're a little older.
I don't think so, but I don't think so. Was there?
Any hot ants or anything?
Stephanie, come in.
You attracted to my ants?
Well, as a child, like the Freudian effect. I don't know.
No, but what, babysitters?
I don't even remember my babysitters. I was home alone from the age of like 4. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Your mom was drunk or your dad was asleep.
That's a good one.
Any experience with older men who couldn't get hard?
Yes.
Oh.
Wow. How is that? Like, are you more understanding as you get older? Like, oh, it's okay.
No. I'm just gonna say
Yeah,
this.
say it.
I'm
Act like you're not here.
I can tell my face is getting red. It was Don the mailman.
Oh my God! The name drop.
Damn.
And he watched too much porn. He was a porn addict, and then
Really? This is
Yeah.
news to me.
I know.
You should've-
There's
why-
things
why
I
have you
don't.
not
There's
told me
things
this?
I don't want to. Yeah, there's things.
Do you think that's why he
don't,
couldn't get an erection?
He said that.
He said I can only get it when I'm watching porn.
Or do you think
Yeah.
because like he jerks off too much and it's like
Yeah,
he doesn't have
exactly.
much in the
That's what he
tank?
said.
How?
Yeah.
You know,
God,
So
now I'm
word
just
to the
imagining her
wise.
with Don the mailman.
What? You never
Nothing.
even
It's
saw that
just-
guy, right?
how was
No,
your
it's-
reaction once he said that? Like, was
Um,
it because you guys were gonna do it, or was it just like in a normal conversation? Like, by the way, in
no
the future.
comment. No comment.
Okay.
Plead the
That's
fifth.
the prior. I'm sure.
Did you think Chris was gay at one point?
No.
Did you hear one pod?
No, I never. No, I didn't watch that one. But I think he's made reference to that pod or something.
Oh.
But I don't know. No, I didn't watch
Yeah,
that
recently.
one. I don't know what you're talking
You never
about.
were kind of concerned or anything?
Mm-mm.
Why would she be concerned? Is there something wrong with being gay?
Not concerned, but aware. I mean, you're probably gonna do no comment to this one. Do you have any kinks?
I don't know. What the fuck, dude? It's my mom we're talking about here.
You told me. He said go hard.
Did I?
Really? Wow, Chris, you did?
Maybe like wholesome, like normal, like chest hair. I guess it's more like preference. I guess.
Tom Selleck.
Tom Selleck. Butts. I like butts.
Really?
Just like looking at nice butts.
Like guys with nice
Yeah,
butts?
uh-huh.
Like a strip
wow.
club, then they have like the little butts. You're like, ooh, like you just want to get a little tap. Okay. Would you sell feet pics if the price was like really good, like
No.
$10,000?
No,
Why not?
because I have no confidence in that
Really?
area. Yeah.
Ever since you broke it, huh? You're like,
I told you, just don't twist the same anymore. How did you feel when Chris's dad told you he was going to buy Plan B and never did? Then 9 months later, Chris came out. Okay, last one.
That's good.
When was the last time you were sober?
Gosh, that's bad.
she doesn't even drink that much.
I
This is
know.
the crazy
Gosh,
part.
people are gonna think that I'm bad.
I think
Gosh.
for most people like your age, I think you probably like you're below average in how
Oh,
many drinks you have.
Totally.
That's my segment right
We
there.
went hard in Nashville, which was in February.
That's gonna be a
but
clip.
I-
Oh, that's clip.
But I haven't tonight. Just that shot, I think, was
Yeah.
the first time I've had anything since the end of February.
Nice.
Nice.
Well, today she took a shot.
Why are you saying nice? It's like,
Good
Oh,
job.
can you
Good
tell
job.
that?
Good job, Joanne.
I have this written down as a question for you. Can you talk about the time, actually this New Year's, when you went out and got absolutely
gosh,
plastered?
Oh, that was horrible. That was horrible.
Are you willing to talk about it or no?
Sure.
All right.
What do you want me to say?
No, just say what happened.
Describe the scenery and stuff.
Well, my excuse is I had sushi at lunch,
Mm-hmm.
which, is not very filling.
Yeah.
I didn't eat dinner. I was all excited because her husband's band was playing. And I just went too hard.
Dang.
I'd never been to Nino's before, and I was all excited to go there.
Oh. Hold on. We're going to take a little intermission.
Okay.
Is it recording?
Yes. I had just a couple more on my end. They were a little bit more like, I wanted you to go more in depth, but just go quicker. It's fine. Or not. Whatever you want.
Okay.
Sorry, it's because a few of them we already asked. How is it dealing with a divorce? Sorry to be so deep. Okay. The other lighthearted ones we've already asked.
Horrible. It was horrible.
Do you think just like the process of losing someone you love, or just like or you loved?
Well, as all of my kids have told me now, I should have done it way before I did, because they said I put them through too much trying to keep the family together.
Mm-hmm.
And they wished that. And it was just, I don't know. Did you want me to say?
I've never like gone into the specifics about why,
Yeah.
It's up to you. I don't know.
Well, the reason we split, we were married for 23 years, but probably the last 8 at least, were bad, because he just went off the deep end. Their dad went off the deep end. He was working night shift. He had a business and was working during the day. He was getting like no sleep or a couple hours of sleep, and it just tweaked his brain, and he was never the same. So that was painful, because I always thought, well, I mean, I wish he was like an alcoholic or a drug user or a cheater, and I had a really good reason. I mean, it was a good reason to leave, but like I wished I had like a concrete, substantial reason other than he's mentally ill, and gosh, I don't even know how to word it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I felt like, am I copping out or not living up to my wedding vows because I'm going to leave because he's mentally ill, like, for better, for worse, through sickness and through health. But we just never knew as a family what was going to be walking through the door from day to day. And even like we would try to tell people things that would happen, and it sounded so stupid, like when you would say it, but when we're living it,
it's terrible.
It was terrible. Yeah. So what was the question again? I forgot.
That was a good summary.
That was real. I like that a lot.
Okay.
It was just like kind of dealing with that.
Yeah, it was bad. It was, I mean, when you've been with someone for that long and you have a family, it's, yeah.
Do you think like it would just kind of get harder and harder to want like to leave them, like as time went by? You'd be like, oh, well, we're already in it, and we're already in it,
Oh yeah, and I would think, oh, maybe he'll get better. Maybe I'm the reason. Maybe if I change, like I would try to do all sorts of different things. We'd try to have family meetings. Remember, we'd have interventions. We'd sit him down, or I'd try to be like really firm and stern and bitchy with him, or then I'd try a different way and be really nice. And it just kept getting harder and harder until it was when we took Erica to San Jose, and you were supposed to stay at Anthony's house.
Yeah.
And that big old blow up, and that was like the final straw. But even then, it still took me like another 6 months after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She really tried like every course of action, like and like she said, it's like if he would have been like beating her or like, abusive, cheating, something where it's like, okay, clearly this is not working, but it's like I don't think he was purposely trying to like sabotage our family or like the relationship, like it's just something he really didn't have that much control over, and like to this day we don't really know if he's aware like of his like mental illness that he has, like being a psychology major, I think he does, but I think he just denies it.
I think so.
I think he's in denial hard and thinks he's fine. But yeah, dude, it was pretty gnarly. Like
We've been through
we've been through some
shit.
really scary stuff.
Yeah.
Really scary. And like she said, like you just never really knew. Like I remember like every day pretty much, or a lot of times, like walking home from the bus stop and just wondering like what was going to happen when I walked in, or like, you know, if it was going to be a good day or a bad day, or like, you know, if everything would be on edge or upside down, you know. I just didn't know. So yeah, I mean, and even then, like, I'm sure I didn't want you guys to like split up, but I'm sure like now as like the 23-year-old, I'm like, yeah, you know, it probably went on for a little too long, but like if I was in that situation, like I wouldn't want to leave, you know. I'd be like, I need to help this person. It's hard because it's like, you know.
Well, because he, you know what, he was and is a good person.
He's a great person.
He was a great husband. He was a great dad, a great person. I mean, everyone liked him. He was so likable. Like, I can remember going somewhere with him, or we'd just be taking a walk, and people always would talk to him and smile at him, and I'd always say, man, why do people always like approach you like that? Just because he always was just so likable, and you know, and then that all changed.
Yeah. Let me say some good things just because that was kind of dark, but yeah, so he's a really good person, as much as like Jaime likes to, you know, make his little jokes and stuff. He's a great person. Like she said, like just really good energy, and people would always approach him and talk to him, and he was like, he's very outgoing, and he loves to like just meet new people and conversate with them and stuff. And like growing up, he was always like so supportive of anything I was doing. Like it was baseball for the longest, and he was like, God, like all of his free time was just like practicing with me and helping me with stuff, taking me to games, whatever. Even skateboarding, which is like something I don't think he ever had any experience with, you know. Like he was just like, whatever, dude, if it's what you like, you know. He'd take me to like skate parks everywhere. He'd take me and all my friends to the skate parks, you know. So I don't want people to just have a bad taste in their mouth, you know, or think he's like a terrible person, because he's a really great person and still is. There's just some things that are like different now, you know, that are a little tough to like deal with sometimes. But yeah.
Was there any like warning kind of signs beforehand, before like things started getting bad, where you're like, that was a little weird, or he reacted in certain ways, or it'd be like, maybe this might be an issue in the future?
Yeah, you know what? I didn't realize it until way down the road, because so I was married to this person and he was my husband, and but he would like come home and start saying weird stuff. Like my boss, I was driving and my boss was following me in his car, and you know, like wondering where I was going, and that was one thing. And then another one, he said his coworker was doing stuff to him, and I was believing him. He would like come home and tell me all this stuff. And I remember specifically one time, excuse me, I sound like you, Chris.
You're good.
He called me at like 2 a.m. This is when he was working night shift. He would get the recycling from work and bring it home. Remember the recycling?
He's a real cheapskate, and that's where I get it from.
Yeah, I've heard that's a big one. He's pretty cheap.
He'd get the recycling, bring it home. Well, then he called me in the middle of the night one night and said, they're coming to get me. I've been taking this recycling, and they just told me that I'm not supposed to be doing it. It's like I'm stealing from work, and the sheriffs are going to come and arrest me. And I believed him. Like I laid awake the rest of the night. I had to go. I was taking my prereqs for nursing school. Had to go to physiology.
Which is the
And
worst
I can
class.
I can remember sitting in physiology thinking, what am I going to do? My husband's going to go to jail, and I have 3 kids. I'm trying to get into nursing school. I can remember like not focusing. When I look back now, I think how stupid that I believed all this stuff, but I was like, I have no reason not to.
Yeah.
So the one time when it finally clicked is when, remember when he would get up and go grocery shopping at like 5 a.m.
Jesus. Yeah.
Every Saturday morning, he'd go to Winco. And I remember he got up to go grocery shopping. And I got up like right after him to go to the restroom. He was downstairs. We had a 2-story house. And I guess he heard me walking upstairs. And he thought that I had called people to go watch him when he was grocery shopping. So that was when it clicked. Okay, something's definitely wrong. And then it just snowballed from there. There was just lots of stuff.
I feel like you're listening to like a scary story, right?
Yeah,
I mean, maybe it's just because I lived it, but I'm just like, God, like my anxiety right now, you know? But I lived that, you know? So it's like, it's a little triggering, you know?
it's interesting because like I feel like I have a similar situation with like my mom, and it's just like weird to hear because like how you're saying, just like the extreme paranoia is crazy. I remember like for her, it would be like because she had like a case, like a working case with like work, like getting hurt, and that's kind of like how it started because it was kind of like a long case. And just like very similar stories of like, dude, like they're following me, like people are following me, like and like don't take pictures of me anywhere, and you know, and then just like random stories of like, you know, like these people are here at the store with me, or like or you know, questioning your own kids and stuff like that, like who you like, are you talking to anyone, like who are you telling like my business about? And it's just kind of shocking because you're just like, I'm not doing anything, you know, like, or you know, or I would just be telling my mom like no one's, you know, like she would drive with like the rear view mirrors, like the, you know, closed because she was like, people are shining bright lights on me and like I think they want to see what I'm doing and stuff like that, you know. And it gets like super serious where like and now to this day, like you could just see like more and more paranoia with just different things and like very not trusting of anyone. And it's like it starts with that, you know, and then it starts going with like different family members and like different people and strangers, and it's like, Jesus, you know?
I'm gonna level with you. That sounds pretty serious. I mean, it sounds very similar to like what we went through, you know?
And, you know, and then I tried to protect him for years and years. Like people would say, what's up with
We'll bleep it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's up with him? And, oh, nothing. He's fine. Like neighbors, family members. I tried to protect him because I just wanted him to get help and be better, you know?
And that was ultimately like the issue, is that he never wanted to get help, because I think if he would have gotten help, like things could have been so different, you know? And maybe the marriage would have stayed, you know? And like, I think, yeah, he was just such like a good guy. I think that's why people could tell that something was off, you know? Because he would do things that were like, I mean, like at some points he would be like a huge dick, you know, because of like what he thought was happening. And it was really embarrassing because like, and even me, like I probably had to cover, you know, or if my friends were like, what was that all about? I'm like, I don't know, you know, or I don't know. It was always something. Or yeah, sometimes there'd be like blowouts and my friends were around and I'd be like so embarrassed to like just.
You mean me and him? Blowouts?
No, like just he'd be like thinking something was going on, or like he'd come home from work thinking like somebody did something to him, and he'd just be like, I remember one time he was talking about like something that had happened, like so he thought somebody kind of like did him wrong that day, and I think Francisco was over and he said he can eat a bowl of dicks.
I remember he said that.
And then now like Francisco to this day thinks that's the funniest phrase ever. He's like, you can eat a bowl of dicks. And it is kind of funny, you know, but like just me knowing the context, I'm like, God, it's like, stop.
I'm glad you
know?
could laugh though.
Yeah.
Because what else? I mean,
I think that's a big thing I've taken from you. Like you've had a big impact on my sense of humor, because you never
you
like
have to have humor.
That, and just in general too. Like I feel like you do a good job of not taking things too seriously, you know. And
I try not to, because we've had a lot of shit, Chris.
Yeah,
in our lives.
a lot. Like on top of that, there's a lot of other stuff that's happened too.
You have to. I mean, at the time, I'm sure I wasn't laughing much, but
yeah, but we laugh
can
at
tell
it
stories now,
which is nice that we can like laugh through it. You know? There's a lot of laughter we've taken from it in some weird way, you know. But yeah, I don't know. Anything else about that topic?
A last thing to kind of wrap up the divorce thing. Like,
but wait, I have a question for you. Did you know all of this?
Yeah.
Has he ever
Did I tell you that?
Have he
I've
ever told
only
you?
heard-
I mean, that's just like a scratching of the surface.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just like it in a nutshell, really.
I've only heard of like him being a big cheapskate. What is it? Steak?
Cheapskate.
But that's not
Skate.
anything to divorce somebody
And
over.
then just the like some paranoia. I think you say like he's pretty off the grid and stuff like that, right? Is that
I think I might have told you before, because I used to not tell anybody. Like growing up, I was just like so embarrassed by it, and I would never tell anybody because I thought it was like so abnormal, which I mean it is, but like it happens. Like you meet a lot of people that have similar experiences now that I open up about it, you know. But I think I might have told you at some point, but I was probably pretty brief about it, you know. Like I don't think I went as in depth. So this is probably news to you, basically. Yeah. But
So now, like after the fact, you're pretty like happy with your decision, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, I wished I would have done it a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're gonna move on for that, but I appreciate that. I mean, it's good.
Yeah,
I feel like that's nice to hear.
Nice
Like I
change
said,
of pace, you know.
Chris hasn't like told me anything like that too, and it's kind of nice that you guys were both not in it together in a sense. Where like, I guess it's not like a good thing, I guess, but like it's kind of nice that at least you guys were both like, yeah, that was a rough kind of patch, you know. And you guys made it through it though, really well, you know. Both bachelorettes, bachelors. Oh fuck! This one's a lighthearted one, a little fun here. What positions are you too old for?
Jesus.
Sorry. Just to switch it up a bit. Is there anything anyone's recommended where you're like, we can't do that?
You guys think I'm a sexaholic and an alcoholic? Is this what I'm getting from these lines of questioning?
50, you've had experience, you know?
Gosh, I do. Jeez. What are you telling him, Chris?
I don't tell him anything
Gosh.
in that regard. Like, I don't know where this is all him. This is all.
No comment.
All right.
Sorry, I'm bored.
No, you're okay. It's just the question that's funny too. So Joanne went into nursing a little bit older in life, like not as early as you may assume, you know. I think it was what, 30s?
I've been a nurse for 10 years only, so in my 40s.
So one of the questions I wanted to ask was, like, obviously you're a mom and stuff like that beforehand. What were you, like, what did you see yourself kind of doing, like, at like 30 years old or 40 years old? Like,
well, I always wanted to be a nurse, but I just got burned out with school. So at like 19, I decided I'm going to be a dental assistant. I don't have to go to school anymore. And I got in the dental field, which I dental assisted for and front office for 20 years. It was a good career, but I never could support myself. Like, thank God I did go back to nursing school, especially with being divorced. But I always wanted to be a mom. But I didn't get married till I was 27, so I was a little older and became a mom older. I tried to go back to school when Kayla was 2 and she's 28 now, and I was pregnant with Erica. I hacked it for like a year, and then I'm like, you know what? My kids need me more than I need to be going to school. So I quit till you were how old? 'Cause it took me a while to do
like
my
12
prereqs. Probably. Well,
No, because you graduated nursing school, I think, when I was like 12. So you probably went back
it'll be 10 years next month that I've graduated.
So 13 when you
So-
graduated. I was 13
And it
when you
took
graduated.
me 3 or 4 years to do prereqs.
Yeah, so I was like 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went back. I just knew I always wanted to be a nurse, but I love the dental field. I mean, I have friends to this day that I met in the dental field too. So,
what'd you like about nursing that you're like, I want to do this?
my mom is a nurse, and I just always thought dental was just teeth. Nursing is any body part, any body part. So I don't know. I just always had in my head I wanted to be a nurse.
Yeah. That money talking too.
Oh yeah, money talks.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
big time. Yeah.
Ooh.
So well, like I said, thank goodness, because otherwise I wouldn't be making it on a dental assistant salary. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something like I super admire about you, and like just the fact that you're able to kind of sustain at one point even 3 children, you know, by yourself. You know, like have your own house and like be able to afford things, you know, and just like having stuff to your name is like so crazy for me, and like just so nice, like just so awesome to see, you know. And especially how like it wasn't like you had this life set up when you were 20 and it's like and you're still doing it. It's like you kind of had to put it in gear once I'm pretty sure.
But you know what? I didn't go back to school because I thought I started going back to school before he was having issues. He wanted to quit where he was working and start his own business. So that was our plan. I was gonna become a nurse, and then he was gonna start his business, and that's what we were gonna do. I didn't go back because I knew we were gonna divorce. So
Right, well, that
it always
spiel
was
didn't
just
make sense.
it always was just
Different.
it always was just a plan of
But it worked
something
out,
I
you know?
wanted to do. Yeah, but it
Worked out
did
well.
work out. Yeah, it worked out.
Like, Jesus. Imagine, if it, like, started happening and you hadn't been in school. It'd be such a
know.
longer process. And, who
well,
knows?
he would have been paying me support instead of me paying him support. That'll be a whole other podcast.
All right, should I hit those questions? Or do you have anything else?
I have a couple more.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go for it.
He scares me with his questions.
I know.
Some good, some bad. Growing a little bit older, I always think it's kind of strange how, like, it's not strange. It's just like now that we're 20s and we're, moving up in the middle age and whatever. Like, the older people get, the more, like, set they are on their opinions, and they're very, like, believe in one thing or believe in things very, like, strictly. As you've gotten older, have you, like, lost more friends kind of that way? Just, like, people are being way more concrete in their opinion, and you're like, whoa.
Have I lost friends? Because I don't agree with them, or because they are kind of
Either like
that?
they don't agree with them, or even just them being like too much about that one subject, and it's kind of like, okay.
Well, you know what? I have a friend. This just popped into my head that I talked to on the phone. She lives in the Bay Area. You know who she is.
Yeah.
She's so hung up on money and education and schooling and
Like materialistic. Where'd you go to school?
Yeah, that I that's
What on earth was that? Well, I think we're good.
Okay. Materialistic. gal.
just that's one thing that I can't stand, honestly, because I feel like every time I talk to her, what are you laughing
I just
at?
farted. I'm sorry. Okay, keep going.
Jeez, good thing you're sitting next to him.
Yeah.
That's one thing I have no use for.
Mhm.
I don't know. I do have some older friends, and I feel like, or older family members that I feel like sometimes I talk to them, and I'm like, you're so prejudiced, or you're so, I just sometimes don't answer the phone, or don't talk to them as
can't
much
do
as
this
I used
today.
to. Yeah, I can't do this today.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's that
I can't
sometimes.
do this
That's what I
today.
get scared of. It's just like, because I don't know. I feel like when you're a teen and like late teens and early 20s, it's like you still are experiencing life and you have a good like positive attitude about things in a sense, and like you're still kind of forming your beliefs, but like they're not what you are in a sense. Like they're not just about like everything about you. And I feel like since I work at Frito-Lay, I work with like a lot of older people. And I see that so much where their personality is just like, you're just going to hear the same things like day in and day out. And I'm like, I never want to get to that point where like you could assume what I'm going to talk about before you talk about me, And I just feel like when you get older, that kind of happens more and more often.
I agree, because I work mostly with 20-somethings and 30-somethings. So I'm one of the older ones, but there are a few older nurses in there. Am I like
Bunch
that,
of banging
Chris?
nurses, dude. I
Am
went
I-
to a wedding once with her.
Oh, yeah, you sucked at that wedding,
Dude,
too.
oh, that was
Gosh,
the worst.
jeez. Oh.
Should I get into that real
He was
quick?
my date, if you want to.
Oh yeah, why
Well,
were you
basically, yeah, I was her date to like a wedding, right? And it was like one of her coworkers. There was a bunch of like young hot nurses there, and I was so hungover. This is to bring the alcohol back into it, but I was like so hungover, and I had barely like slept the night before. You remember that night, right?
What night was it?
It was when we went to bleep it, but house. It was a Tinder date from Jaime.
Oh yeah.
And it was like ended up being a double date. We went and we like drank and stayed up all night, and then I like barely slept, and I didn't have time to nap before this wedding, and I was like so hungover and just tired, and like being at this wedding for some reason, like it just made me so anxious. Like I remember one feeling anxious because I was like, I'm surrounded by so many like nurses and people who just like have their life together, and I'm unemployed, and I don't want the small talk to be like, so what do you do? And then I'm like, I don't do anything, And then I just remember like at the like kind of reception time when they're like playing like super loud music and everybody's dancing, I was like so ready to go home and just like tired and stuff. And I also when I'm super hungover, like and I drink a whole lot the night before and have a good time, I feel like really depressed the next day sometimes, and I felt like super depressed also, just super like depleted of everything, you know. And I remember my mom was drunk. Shocker, right?
Oh, we told a story where she's not drinking. That's
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm
And
sorry.
I had a broken foot. I had to
And
drink.
she had
I
a
had to
broken foot.
deal with it.
But she kept like she was drunk, and I feel like you just couldn't read that I was like not in the mood, you know. And she was like, "Go dance with my friends. Go dance." I was like, "No, like I don't want to." And she just kept asking me, and then yeah, I was just ready to go.
What's
So
your
I was
side?
very
That was a
bahumbugged there.
bummer.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah,
I know.
you-
I could have been a lot more fun. And I remember
You
thinking,
should
like,
have been.
her friends probably think I'm, like, just such a schmuck. Like, I'm just so boring and, like, almost
You
rude.
were.
You know? Yeah.
That's
So I'm
crazy,
sorry
'cause
He
about
went,
that.
at one point,
And
he
I'm
went
sure
sat
some of you are
outside.
watching. So
Remember, you sat outside.
yeah.
I'm like, where'd Chris go?
And
He
the
was sitting in
September
the
night, I was
dark.
so cold,
Well, you
but I
know
just didn't
what?
want to be in that
There
room
was
with that
another
loud
reason
music.
why you were depressed too.
Oh,
don't-
my breakup was
yeah,
recent.
it was right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that was part of it. You know, it was just a lot, you know, coming down on me at that time.
Yeah, but I had a couple of my nursing friends go over there. They were good. I was like, go tell him to dance. And then he got wind of it, and then he was gone.
I feel bad, man. I'm sorry if you guys are listening, but like, yeah, it was a bad night for me. I'm usually a lot more fun,
Chris would have had a lot
and
more
I
fun,
probably would
think,
have
before.
danced
Yeah.
if it was different circumstances. But yeah.
All right. Last one. Actually, there's no more. Oh, one more. Chris kind of always says that you guys have like really like religious kind of family members, like a few in specific and stuff like that. And he kind of has said like in the past you're like almost like the black sheep of the family, or just more like separated of the family. Were you always kind of like that, and how do you feel, and what do you think about that?
Oh, I feel like we're the black sheep
Yeah.
because I'm the only divorced kid. My child is the only one who has had a child out of wedlock. I don't know. I just think they don't approve of a lot of the things that we do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We don't go to church.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, I feel like I don't think any of them are listening. If you are, what's up? Hey. Yeah, no, we go to like our family things. Yeah, with like most of them, I feel like I just cannot be myself whatsoever. Like it just stays like such small talk. And if I do like start to open up, it just goes nowhere because I feel like they just don't really have anything to say about what I have to say because one, like our interests just don't align. And two, I feel like they just don't really approve of like what we do, you know? I mean, it's not like we do anything that bad, but it's just like our
I'm
lifestyles.
just alcoholic and a sexaholic.
Our lifestyles are just so different. So it's just like, it's just hard, you know? But yeah, I feel a little black sheepness.
How do you handle that? Like a family, like, do you feel like weird or just kind of like over it, like whatever?
I'm over it.
At one point, did you ever take it like very serious or like? You'd
You
get
know
nervous?
what? Yeah, because I don't know how much of this should I say. I don't know.
It's up to you.
We'll do.
I don't care.
Only your cool aunt.
Only my
listens,
cool
right?
aunt
Cool
listens.
aunt.
Yeah.
I don't know. My mom and my sister are like this, and so a lot of times I feel like an outcast. And I used to take it to heart, but then I'm like, whatever. I'm just gonna be over it.
You know what's crazy is I talked about her meeting her like most recent boyfriend on the pod like a while ago, and that aunt that listens, you just had to go tell everybody, didn't you? You know, because then everybody knows at the next family get together, and my mom's super embarrassed, and then she's asking me what I said, and but can I say what happened now? The current status? No, I won't.
No, because
But anyways, thanks for that.
Because of course I'm protecting. You know how I protect people. I only
Yeah.
have to say.
Oh yeah, it's
good
all right.
things
We'll
about
move
it,
on.
yeah.
We'll move on. Do you have any more questions?
I
Or you did have a comment to say there, and I cut you off.
was gonna say, don't know.
It's all right.
All right, should we go to the anonymous ones? Real
Yeah.
quick?
So, unbeknownst to you, I
Brought
post.
out all your exes. They're outside.
Guys, go ahead and come on out.
Let's go. He's so
A
good.
new boyfriend. But no, unbeknownst to you, Dad's actually. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, get on in here.
And Don the Bellman.
Yeah. So we have a wrestling match.
With his limp penis. Sorry.
We went ahead and loaded up Don with 4 Viagras. Let's see what he could do.
We have a new segment on the show called Second Chances. He's off the board. Anyways. All right. So, yeah, we put out a Instagram story, and I said, Chris's mom is going to be on the podcast.
Oh my gosh.
If you have any questions, hit the link. And it's an anonymous link so they can ask
Anonymous.
questions.
Uh-huh.
And we don't know who they are. So they
gosh.
then they really let loose.
Oh, great.
So let's see what we got here.
You can no comment a lot of them.
Okay. Gosh.
I haven't read this one yet. It says, does she remember being fully mooned by one of Chris's friends when we were swimming? On accident, by the way, in parentheses.
Oh. You know what? I do, but I don't remember who it was. That was the total impact.
Oh, I think I know who it was. I don't know if I should say his name.
Yes, say it.
I think it was Christian Ba.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I think he was doing this thing where he's like, look, I'm a dolphin.
Oh, yeah. I
He
remember
would,
now,
like,
but I didn't remember
like
who
a
it
dolphin
was.
dives
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
And he would have his ass out because he thought it was funny. And then my mom saw it. I forgot about that. All
Oh,
right.
and what about your orange Speedo that you all had to try
Oh,
on
yeah. I
back
bought a
there?
Speedo at Ross one day. You've seen it, right?
Yeah. It's an iconic picture
And I thought it
because
was
you.
so funny, dude. Because me and my friends used to swim so much. Me, Cheech, Ruben, and Elias, and we played Marco Polo all the time. That was like our thing, you know. And yeah, I remember one time I was like, "Dude, I'm gonna buy this Speedo and surprise them," and they thought it was like the coolest thing ever. But then we would all take
One
turns
day they
wearing
all
it.
tried it on. Yeah, it was so gay. maybe I did think you were gay that day.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, that was the thing. That's funny, dude. Wow. How are you today? With a heart. That's sweet, right?
Oh.
She looked concerned. Like, that's it? It's Dawn?
That's very sweet.
Oh,
How are you?
How the hell are you?
I'm good today. I
That's
didn't have
good.
to go to work. I stayed home and did education on the computer and got paid for it.
Nice. Can you scoot this way just a little bit?
I know this Erica, your couch is uncomfortable.
Dude, it sucks.
I feel like I'm.
I like the couch,
Always.
but yeah, it's split. It divides super easy. And it's really annoying. Anyways,
Well, that was.
But I'm
sweet.
not
That was
ungrateful. It's
sweet,
a good
whoever.
I know.
uh,
Thanks, you
yes,
guys.
Thank you.
What was your favorite cartoon growing up?
Oh gosh, probably Scooby Doo.
That's one of my favorites, I think. Scooby Doo and Tom Jerry.
And we
Tom
could only
Jerry.
watch it on Saturday mornings, and if I overslept, then I missed it.
Dang.
Was that in color?
It was in color.
Dude, you sound so fun, like in the back. Like,
Back in the day.
Yeah, like the OG with the OG theme song.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but do you remember? Do you recall?
Scooby-Doo,
Oh, right. Oh, there it is.
where are you?
Yeah,
Who
I've
got some work to do now? Can we do the harmonizing thing real quick?
Right?
Have you seen us do that?
Uh-uh.
You just hum and you just try to match the tone, so we're all humming like the same level.
Oh.
Ready?
I'm not
maybe next
musically.
time.
I'm not musically inclined. Sorry.
You make me take the piano lessons, so you can't even.
Oh God, guitar.
Yeah, Chris has done so much as a kid. He always said like piano lessons, soccer practice, baseball, skating. Were you the one pushing him kind of to do all that stuff?
Just piano.
And soccer
Oh yeah.
and
soccer.
baseball.
Baseball.
I don't know if
Your
you pushed
dad
me to do
probably.
it. Yeah. Do you like Taco Bell?
I worked there when I was in high school. I
Yeah.
love Taco Bell.
Nice.
Yeah, you still like it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you
especially
tried-
on those drunken nights, you know.
Jeez.
Have you tried their Dorito Locos Tacos?
Mm-mm.
Oh, those are the
I like
best.
all their old stuff from when that
The
they
Mexican
don't even
pizza?
have anymore. Probably. Mhm.
Those are banging. How cute is Chris on a scale of 1 to cute?
Jesus.
When to cute? A girl must have asked that.
Yeah, I wonder.
Yeah. When to cute? I would say a 9.5. Is that
Oh,
How do you like his
not a
haircut?
10?
It's a little shaggy right now.
Oh shit!
I don't
You
know.
did just get it?
Sorry.
I like it right now.
You do
Why?
like
Because the
it right
top's
now?
long.
Yeah, I think so.
She hated the long hair, right? You didn't like the long
no, I
hair?
liked it. It was
Oh,
okay.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Grandma hated it.
Oh yeah, my grandma hated it.
She
Well,
be like, "Are
I
you
always
gonna cut
thought it looked greasy sometimes, though.
Oh.
Like you hadn't washed it.
Yeah, probably because Chris doesn't use shampoo or soap. So
You're not wrong.
So do you prefer him with the shorter hair or longer hair? You think?
I like it long. I like his hair longer.
Wow, like the comb over or like long, how I had it recently.
Just anything longer than I just. Yeah.
Think like a marine.
No, that reminds me. If somebody told you that.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I know who it is. What do you dislike about yourself?
About myself.
Mm-hmm.
Probably my weight, number one, and my lack of self-confidence, number two.
Oh, that was really honest.
That was really honest.
was good.
I want to tell you, you aged like wine. You
Really?
know? Like,
Ooh,
wow.
thank you.
Usually they say white cracks or whatever, something. I don't know. But you have aged well.
Ooh, thank you.
So I'm
He
pretty
always
sure
has to let me know, you know?
anyone that's,
I
I'm pretty sure everyone would
appreciate that.
agree
Woo.
that you look really well.
Thank you.
Yeah, and not even just him. Like all my friends are always like, "Your mom looks really good." And then when they,
Really?
if they ever
Have
find
had
out,
their eyes checked lately, or
Stop.
if they ever find out your age, they're like really shocked. So,
really?
Yeah.
Wow. Because
Really good.
just working with all of my youngsters that I work with, I feel
Yeah, it's
really
crazy because even in
old.
nursing, you think it'd be so stressed in nurse school and divorce. It's
know.
like, you have every reason to be like all wrinkly and stressed, you know?
Did you have a good co-parenting relationship with Chris's dad?
No. He always made me be the bad guy. He never wanted to discipline you guys.
I remember you
So-
made him have the sex talk with me.
I did?
Yeah.
Gosh, see, that's when I feel old.
Because I think
When I don't remember things.
you were like, you guys are both like, males. You need to have the
Oh.
birds and the bees talk. And then I remember he had the birds and the bees talk. And I was like, wow. But yeah.
So he'd tell you what, like, you got to tell Chris to
Well,
take away
he
his
just
frown.
would never. He would just never. Like if you guys did something wrong, he would laugh, or sit there and be all
didn't
nervous
wanna
about
be
it.
the
And
bad
I always had to be the disciplinarian.
I feel like you always were the disciplinary person, so that makes sense. That's
With the
also,
wooden spoon.
It's like when you said, like, did my dad ever do anything that she didn't know about? I'm like, no, because
Yeah.
he never really disciplined us. How's your dating life been? I think we kind of already covered that.
Yeah.
Anything? Yeah, no. We've covered it.
Okay. Sorry, but you got what you wanted.
Oh gosh.
Why did you make Chris shit in the back of the van during his sister's piano lesson?
Oh my God, that's a bad one. That's a bad one.
Did you? That was anonymous. That
No,
was
I
you.
promise that was not me.
Okay, who the heck knows about that?
I talked about it on the podcast.
It's on a title. Chris shit in a car.
Okay, in my defense, I had three little kids, and piano lessons. Their sisters had each half an hour. Kayla half an hour, Erica half an hour, back to back, and that was like my hour to just sit in the car, and I could either sleep or doze off or read a book. I could just do nothing. And then when he said he had to I don't know. Why did I not drive you home or drive you to a store? I have no idea now. I'm just like, no, I'm too comfortable. I don't know. I don't know. What the heck went through my head? I don't know. Bad parenting moment. And then, of course, the only time in the whole career of piano lessons, she came to the car that day and talked to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, that was horrible.
Just for a little bit of context here, I know it's been a while since we said that story, but yeah, basically we're sitting out in the car, like parked in front of the piano teacher's house. She was teaching my sister a piano lesson or whatever inside, so we're just chilling in the car, and I really had to poop, and I told her I have to poop, and she was like, no, like we're not going home. I'm not taking you anywhere. I think you just wanted me to hold it. And I think it got to a point where I was like, I'm going to shit myself, like it was happening. And then for some reason we went to the back of our Suburban and then she laid down paper towels.
It's the worst.
Stupid. What?
And she
So
was
dumb.
like, poop on the paper towels. And I pooped on paper towels. And then I think at the time, too, we had like a... I don't even know what happened with the poop. I don't know if we left it back
Why
there.
were there paper towels?
I
in
don't
our
know.
Car too?
But yeah, the piano teacher came out to the car that day to like say how she was doing, my sister or whatever. And it smelled like feces. So reeked probably.
I have no explanation for that. Bad parenting.
You know what's funny is when I told that story in the podcast, somebody commented and they were like, my boyfriend's parents did the same thing. Like he would poop in the car.
Oh my gosh.
And then I was like, it must be a white thing. So let's see.
You just skip those? Oh, just the ones we already said, or what?
Are you nervous about Chris and Jaime moving to San Diego?
I'm not nervous. I'm just sad.
Yeah. I'm sad too.
So, no, I have confidence in you guys. I know you're going to do all of your research and you're not just going to throw one change of clothes in the car and take off. So,
Yeah.
Did you think the July date was a little pushy?
yeah.
Yeah. Well, makes two of us.
Yeah, we've pushed that date out. I don't know if we told them or not, but or if they even knew about the date. But yeah, we're gonna push it out to like later this year or like the beginning of next year. So, all right. Did you ever think Chris and Jaime were gay?
No, not even when you came home and told me the story about the bathroom stall.
Oh, and the teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah, the teacher saw us in the stall.
We gave each other a peck for New Year's, and that's the only thing we've ever done to
Did
each
you hear
other.
about that?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
It's the only one.
Is there something Chris does that bothers you?
Yes. You're surprised.
No, not really, honestly.
The few times that I ask him to come and do something for me, he'll always tell me, okay. And then he usually he won't show up that day. And then maybe the next day he'll call and say, oh, I ran out of time. And usually he just never does it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's accurate. I remember so many times.
Go ahead.
I remember so many times during the summer when you had your broken foot, I would just be like editing videos and I'd be like, I have to finish this tonight. And then I'd be like, I can't come over, when I probably could have put it on hold. So sorry.
No, but I just, yeah. And then that's what he says, sorry, like really sincere. So then I just have to hire somebody to come and do his stuff instead. Jeez.
Is there anything like personality-wise or something? Not personality-wise, but like, I don't know, just like anything he actually does like physically where you're like, that's kind of bothering. Like he clears his throat a lot or something.
He's my perfect baby boy.
Oh, you sure? Nothing questionable?
Especially when you guys live together, maybe like something he'd continuously doing. You're like,
Do you ever worry that I like drink too much or smoke too much? Well, I don't smoke. I never smoke. It's
No.
super like
it's
rare
once a year.
if I do.
No, because I don't know what goes on now because you don't live
Oh.
at home.
Okay.
At least on the pod.
I know.
Yeah,
you know a
really,
lot
that
about
I
what's
could-
going
yeah.
on.
Do you feel like you know him more now than you've ever?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Well,
Wow.
just another side, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like him and I have had a pretty close relationship.
Yeah.
We could talk about a lot, which I feel like maybe I've talked to my kids too much about things. But I always appreciate it when he comes and talks to me. Yeah.
Even like from a really young age, I would always come to her, like we've been really close, and I'd come and talk about like whatever I was like anxious about or like whatever was going on. I always was like really good about that. So I've always appreciated that, you know?
Thank you.
Did you ever dislike any of Chris's exes? I've only had one ex. Well,
Anyone he's brought over, I guess.
yeah,
that
or
you've met.
you've met, known about. Be honest.
Well, I only know of one, really,
Mm-hmm.
that used to be around all the time. No, I liked her a lot.
Yeah.
What did you think of his grandma not liking her, really? Or some weird
I
things?
don't like that. That was,
Rude.
yeah, that was very rude and inappropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a very awkward situation.
Yeah. My grandma just doesn't take well to like people getting spouses or like partners, you know, and she's like very cold until they start getting more comfortable. I don't know, but yeah, she would be really cold to like my ex and stuff, and it was really, really uncomfortable. How has Chris changed since podcasting?
You're more focused, I feel like. I mean, I see, because before you've always been just kind of, kind of lollygagging.
Mm-hmm.
If it happens, it happens. This is like a goal, and you're driven, and I see like a different
That's nice.
determination in you.
Wow, I'm glad that
Yeah.
shows. Yeah,
Yep.
that's cool. I like that. How many selfies do you take a day?
None. I hate taking selfies.
Yeah.
And that's even like with the online dating, when I have a hard time. Erica gets all disgusted. Mom, you don't have any selfies you could put
Yeah.
on here? No, I don't like pictures of myself.
Yeah. When I read that, I was like, yeah, I don't think she really takes that many selfies. I don't take that many selfies either.
Mm-hmm.
Like, ever.
Yeah, me neither really right now, especially since the weekend.
Well, this one's really sweet. Ask her what she thinks about the story of Chris losing his virginity.
I haven't heard that story.
I'm glad you haven't.
But which podcast number is it? And I will listen to it.
It's in the title. It says losing
okay.
our
Virginity in a
virginities.
threesome, so.
Really?
It was a foursome, okay?
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, Mom.
Oh, Chris. I'm so disappointed. Are you serious? Oh.
Why would you do that? It's just.
I wasn't even
I
gonna,
wasn't there.
I wasn't even gonna ask that one. Honestly, I was just gonna go over it. I don't know. They're anonymous. Oh, who was in it?
No, that's
Okay.
not what I was asking. I was wondering who asked that.
I'm crying. Name all of your exes. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do any of these if you don't want to.
What do people think of me? My gosh. Since I was 16, since I was a teenager?
don't know.
Oh, jeez.
Was
Okay.
was that it?
You can no comment if you want.
I can't remember. I'm old.
All right. Oh, yeah, that's it.
Nice.
That's it.
Thanks for asking the questions, guys.
Yeah,
That's good.
some good ones.
Some good ones.
Is there anything else you want to cover?
Can I ask of like just two good ones? Not good ones, but
Yeah.
two nice ones. Okay. One is
Nice ones.
now that you have like experienced life a lot
Mhm.
and you've been through some
Because I'm old.
trials and tribulations
Mm.
and like we always kind of try to focus on like our women, viewers a lot too, just as being raised by women and stuff like that. We just had like the Women Jiu-Jitsu podcast. Any like, and it's her being like, you're in the dating life still, but you could take care of yourself fine. You could take care of your own kids, like your kids, money wise and stuff like that. Any advice you'd kind of give to like women, just about life and like as them getting older and stuff, like from a not traditional already married standpoint and all this stuff?
Well, one thing is don't have to rely on a man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just
Period.
try to make your own way. What are you laughing at?
Sorry, this is my comment. This is a stupid comment.
Oh, I didn't
Anyways,
hear what
go
you
on.
said. I'm sorry.
I just said period.
Oh. Don't worry so much about what people think about you.
Mm-hmm.
I've spent a lot of years doing that. Just like making decisions for other people, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Try to live for yourself and be true to your own feelings. Don't be judgmental and so harsh about yourself. I still have trouble with that, but what else? I don't know. I think that's about it. Just you just need to live your life for yourself, really, and not for other people. It's probably a huge one.
And then lastly, just because it's like kind of nice that you guys are even able to do this, like having a mom on your podcast and, you actually being an actual listener, which is really nice.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad you support us,
And just you guys being able to talk. And I know you and Chris have had like a really good connection throughout the years. Chris, believe it or not, does not complain about you really that much. I mean, I guess
sure.
just the
I've heard otherwise.
the foot thing.
That was like
really,
the only thing
but
ever.
Chris really does love you and he trusts you with a lot of stuff. I think anything he hasn't told you is more for your sake, I guess, you know, growing up and stuff like that. But as in, like, is there anything you guys want to, like, tell each other, like, if you guys were never to see each other again, anything you would want to kind of, like,
Oh,
compliment
wow.
your mom or anything like that?
I know.
Yeah.
I would just say I've like appreciated, like, I feel like I could come to you with anything, like I said earlier, like just from a super young age. And I remember you telling me that specifically, like you can always come talk to me about anything. You can tell me anything. And I feel like as a parent, that's like so good to do, you know, like letting your kid know that that's like, I'm a safe space, you know? So I've always appreciated that. And, that's pretty much all I can think about right now, honestly. I mean, I feel like we've had like a really great relationship, and it makes it really hard for me to like even think about moving somewhere else, you know? Because I'm like, how could I ever leave you? Because we've just always had such like a close relationship, and like whenever I'm like stressed or like down in the dumps, I'll like go over to her house, and sometimes I'll just show up and she's like, so what happened, you know? Or like, what's going on? Are you stressed? And I'm like, yeah. Then I'll just sit and talk, like even at 23 years old, you know? I'll just go like sit in her room with her, and we'll like sit on her bed and I'll just vent. And like that's something I'm so grateful for, you know? I don't know, what about you?
Well, I feel like I've put you guys through a lot, maybe. Like I wish your lives were different as far as just a lot of the shit that we've been through. But no, I appreciate that you come over and talk to me, that you still value me as a mom, because I feel like boys don't come around as much as girls do. So,
Yeah.
and I just, as bad as I think, oh, I don't want you to move, I mean, you guys have to spread your wings and go. And my job as a mom, you know, if I said, no, stay here, I need you, that's not my job. So,
Yeah.
but no, I just appreciate what a great person you are. I mean, you're so compassionate and caring, and you genuinely worry about people's feelings. And like, even when you talk about your kids at your job, how much you love them and connect with them, I just feel like I did a good job raising a good human being.
I think you did. I mean, you know, yeah, I would like to say too, like, I know maybe you feel like some guilt about all the stuff that we've been through as like a family and stuff, and like literally none of it's your fault. It's just like, I feel like sometimes bad things happen, and that's just life, you know? And I don't hold any of it against you, and I don't know, I'm just like grateful for everything you did. I feel like you did a great job, and like you were always like that safe place for me to go to, you know? Like literally our house could be in like shambles, and I could have come home to like the worst situation, but like I always felt like I had like a safe person and a safe place. So I feel like that's really good, and I feel like I'd be a lot worse off if I like didn't have, you know, that safe place to be during that. And also I feel like I've been seeing you a little bit less since I've like moved out.
You definitely have.
And yeah, I feel I always have that kind of in the back of my head, like guilt, because I want to see you more. And I feel like a huge part of it is just the podcast. That's like honestly like probably the most of it is I'm just like super busy working and then trying to do the pod now. And yeah, I don't make it over to see you enough anymore, but yeah, the intention's there.
The highway to hell is paved with good intentions.
Oh, Jesus.
That's a good note to end it. Wow.
Wow.
That's a good one.
You ever wonder why Chris feels so guilty?
Another one, she says, when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. If you spell assume, that's it's ASSUME. That's a good one. I said that in a presentation one time in college.
I taught your friends a lot of good
That,
things.
and then I remember one time I was a kid and we were walking out of a store, and I asked you what time it was, and I was young, like 5 years old.
That was bad parody when I went to. Yeah.
I said, "What time is it, Mom?" And she said, 1/2 a monkey's ass, 1/4 to his balls. And there was a guy walking by, like an older guy, like a very mature man, and he looked at you like, "Did you just say that to your 5-year-old son?"
Yeah.
But I'm just grateful, you know, it gave me a good sense of humor. I really, you know, I feel like my humor in large part is like from you, so it's great. Anyways, closing notes here.
Yeah, you want to say something and I'll finish it up.
Thank you so much for coming on. I
Thanks
can't
for
believe you
having
came
me.
on,
I
honestly,
know, I
and how
can't either.
easy it was to get you on. I thought you would either say no or it'd take a lot of convincing. So thank you so much for coming on,
Thanks for having
taking
me.
the risk. I hope it was fun.
It was fun.
That's good. And I had a great time. Thanks for being a great mother, supporting me, supporting us. Even though I don't want you to listen to it, I'm glad you support us and you're like, you don't hate it. And yeah, thank you. Shout out Mosaic Apparel,
Yep.
rocking our shirts. You saw that little ad read at the beginning of the show. This is our sponsor. Go check out some of their merch, mosaicapparel.com. Linked in description. Get 10% off if you use code COZY in all caps right here. And yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for being on as well. You're always really cool. And I think that's why I get to say and kind of ask all these questions. Hopefully people, or you don't take it weirdly. I just know you have a sense of humor and it's not going to be like, she's going to hate me, you know? And I feel like you did a really good job with Chris. I think he has a really good head on his shoulders. And like you said, just him being dedicated to the pod is he could be dedicated to anything. He's a goal-oriented guy. And I don't have really any concerns with him or anything like that. And I just like admire you guys' relationship and admire you as like a person and kind of what you've been able to do. And I appreciate you being on, and I hope you had a
Thank
good
you.
time. You know, thanks for supporting us. You supporting Chris in this makes our life a lot easier too. So thank you guys.
All right.
Thanks for watching. Bye.
Peace.
Nice. Thanks for being on.
Thank you. That was fun.
You feel?
People think I'm hoe, man. Hoe alcoholic.
Oh.
Darling,